Freddie is 30 years old and still single. Some say it is due to his small size and others think it is because he is rude. Freddie has not dated much in the last 5 years. He has black hair neatly cut and no facial hair. Freddie shaves every day like most men. Freddie has no job but inherited a lump sum of cash from his grandmother. He hopes to find work again after rejection at one place after another. Freddie wants to rent a room and notices an ad on a bulletin board where he does laundry. Freddie's 2 male roommates want him out due to his rude behavior and lack of cleanliness around the home. The ad states the following: large room for rent in my 3-bedroom home. A clean and polite person needed to live with 2 middle-aged ladies. No pets and the rent is $100 a week. This includes all utilities and sharing the home. The date is Saturday, March 1, 2020, in Austin, Texas when Freddie moves in the home. He was approved as the new tenant yesterday by Miss Jill Clark, the homeowner. Miss Lisa Clark, her sister, lives in the other bedroom. The middle-aged ladies don't work since they both shared a winning lottery ticket for $300,000. Miss Jill Clark is single and is 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing 140 pounds. Miss Lisa Clark is single and is 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing 150 pounds. The ladies sort of tower over Freddie, who is 5 feet 2 inches tall and weighs 100 pounds. The ladies work out 3 times a week at Planet Fitness. Jill is 40 years old and Lisa is 42. Thank you, Freddie, for paying 3 months' rent in advance, Jill said. Glad to have you in our home. No problem, I got an inheritance of $20,000 and put most of it in the bank, Freddie said. It is nice to be here, ladies. We do expect you to clean up after yourself, Lisa stated. That means doing the dishes after you cook. No dirty shoes indoors, so wipe your feet before entering. Please remember to not leave the toilet seat up after you use the bathroom, Jill added. Lisa doesn't want to sit on the wrong part of the toilet. If you pee on the toilet seat, take the time to spray the Lysol in the bathroom and wipe up the mess, Lisa said. Sure, ladies, I can obey a few simple rules, Freddie replied. Freddie moved in a couple of hours ago and has finished unpacking. His room has a twin bed, 1 large dresser, a table with a lamp, and a 20-inch color TV. Freddie loves the place since it is large and comfortable. Freddie put his clothes in the dresser and closet. He left some old dishes and silverware packed. The kitchen where he lives is well stocked with what is needed. Freddie has an old car that is a Hyundai Sonata. Jill has the master bedroom and keeps her car in the garage. Lisa keeps her car in the garage too. Freddie must park back far enough to let the ladies back out when they leave. Jill has a Toyota Camry and Lisa a Honda Accord. They bought new cars after winning the lottery. Freddie's problems begin the first day at the new home. He was living with 2 other men, so the toilet seat was always up. It was only down for going poop, as you would expect. Freddie left the toilet seat up after taking a wee-wee. Poor Lisa sat down, not expecting this to occur. She about got stuck but soon managed to get back up and lower the toilet seat. Freddie, you left the toilet seat up and I sat down, Lisa said. I almost got stuck, so don't do that again, please. You already broke one of the house rules, Freddie, Jill pointed out. I am making a note of this. Unknown to Freddie, breaking a house rule 3 times leads to a spanking or other punishment of the lady's choosing. He apologizes to Lisa for the lack of attention leaving the toilet seat up. Freddie waits for dinner that is cooked for everyone on Saturday. A chicken is baking in the oven with potatoes and carrots. It will be ready at 6 p.m. and smells great. Supper sure smells good, Freddie said. I am hungry. Could you check the mailbox out by the street, please? Jill asked Freddie. We are both busy in the kitchen. Freddie goes out to get the mail. It was raining for a short time. He unknowingly steps in a mud puddle out by the mailbox. Freddie comes back with the mail. There is not anything for him yet. He leaves dirty footprints on the carpet. Look what you did, your shoes have mud on them, Jill said, not feeling happy. You were told to wipe your feet. Jill writes Freddie up for breaking a second house rule. Here is a damp rag so you can wipe up those spots before they leave a stain on our carpet, Lisa insisted. The vacuum is in the hall closet so you can finish the cleanup with that. Freddie is a little embarrassed that he made 2 mistakes on cleanliness already. He curses a bit while vacuuming. Freddie forgets he is around females, not males. Jill hears this and scolds Freddie. She writes him up for breaking a third house rule. No cursing is allowed by anyone. You have broken 3 house rules your first day, Freddie, Jill told him. Your behavior is rude and unacceptable. I am sorry, Ms. Clark, this won't happen again, Freddie said. You are like a small boy who has to be looked after, Lisa stated. We will think about your punishment for breaking 3 house rules so quickly. Freddie doesn't know what this means and ignores the remark. At 6 p.m. they sit and enjoy a very good chicken dinner. Lisa baked a banana cream pie for dessert, which is delicious. By 7 p.m. dinner is finished and so are the dishes. Freddie goes to his room to relax for a while. I think we may have made a mistake letting little Freddie move in, Jill told Lisa. I hope he changes his bad ways. Maybe he is just nervous being in a new home with females, Lisa replied. He was living with males before. What type of punishment does Freddie deserve? Asked Jill. We will have to think about this for a while, Lisa replied. Freddie went to the refrigerator and grabbed a cold beer around 8 p.m. Not long afterward he left his room and went to the bathroom. Freddie decided not to even lift the toilet seat this time. He sprinkled when he tinkled and got some on the toilet seat. Freddie returned to his bedroom. Freddie. I about sat down on the toilet seat and found there is pee on the seat, Jill hollered. Do you have toileting problems at your age? No ma'am, nothing like that, Freddie replied. I left the seat down so I would not forget and leave it up. I did not realize I peed on the seat. Jill writes Freddie up again for breaking a 4th house rule the first day in his new home. Punishment is decided and Freddie won't like it. He will be spanked at 9 p.m. which is just 10 minutes away. He will be put back in diapers too. Freddie, come to the kitchen table please, Jill said. I need you to sign something. Jill has the paper where she wrote up Freddie 4 times for breaking house rules. His signature is required to make sure he gets the message to behave properly. Freddie signs, not thinking this means much. We could have you removed from the home but will not consider that option yet, Jill said. You will be punished. Punished? What do you mean punished? Freddie asked. I am not a small boy, you know. You are a rude little man and need discipline, Lisa replied. Jill grabs little Freddie and pulls down his pants. He is put over her knee with help from Lisa. Jill is sitting on a chair without arms. Little Freddie is over her knees completely off the ground. Smack. 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 Jill slaps his bottom on both sides, startling little Freddie. Smack. 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 She is giving Freddie a well-deserved spanking. He cannot get away with Jill being so big and strong. Lisa is ready to hold his legs but she doesn't need to. Smack. 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 Jill continues to cover both butt cheeks. Freddie is real embarrassed to be spanked like a small boy. Smack. 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 It is not over yet, breaking 4 house rules the first day here. Okay, I get the message and will not break any more rules. Freddie said, not liking being spanked at age 30. You are like a naughty boy and will be treated like one. Jill insisted, letting Freddie off her lap. Freddie is told to go to his room and think about what he has done wrong. His small size makes Freddie easy to dominate like a small boy. There is more punishment in store for Freddie. Jill and Lisa have to get a few things ready. Do you remember that young lady we rented to last year? Jill asked Lisa. The one who wet the bed. Yes, we put her back in diapers every night until she moved out, Lisa replied. Her diapers are still in the garage. It is clear Freddie still has toileting problems, Jill insisted. He will have to be put in diapers for a while. Jill and Lisa go to the garage and find the box of diapers. They are adult small and will fit Freddie. The diapers are white with pink little teddy bears. They are thick with plastic outside. Freddie is going back in diapers as the second part of his punishment. Plastic panties are found that are bright pink with a high back. The bedwetter had to wear these to make sure there were not any leaks when she wet the bed. Desitin is found and baby powder. The ladies are ready to diaper Freddie. Freddie, we need to come in your room for the rest of your punishment, Jill said, opening his door. I hope a second spanking is not needed. Lisa enters the room with Jill. They both are carrying adult diapering supplies to Freddie's surprise. He can't believe they are for him. He apologizes again for his rudeness, breaking the house rules. You have issues in proper toileting at your age, Jill stated. You left the toilet seat up, causing Lisa to almost get hurt. Then you peed on the toilet seat when you left it down. A few days in diapers will improve your manners, Lisa stated. Your aim is not what it should be. No, please. Don't put me back in diapers at age 30, Freddie pleaded. I will do better for sure. Get yourself prepared or we will prepare you, Freddie, Jill said. Chapter 3. Freddie is convinced his landlord Jill and her boarder Lisa are strict females. He broke 4 house rules his first day at the new home. Freddie was given an over-the-knee spanking by Jill. Lisa is about to put Freddie back in diapers. They are in his bedroom as Freddie prepares himself. No need to be shy, we have seen naked men before, Lisa said. You are more like a naughty boy than a man. Freddie is embarrassed but gets undressed as instructed. He is a small man for 30 years old. Lisa gets one of the white diapers with pink teddy bears and shows it to Freddie. An old female roommate left these diapers behind, Jill stated. With your toileting problems, these are for you. Lisa gets diaper rash cream and baby powder. She has Freddie laying on a diaper mat and lifts his bottom by grabbing both ankles. Lisa uses the diaper rash cream and baby powder on Freddie's diaper area. His bottom is a bit red from the spanking earlier. Lift your bottom this time so I can slip a diaper in place, Lisa told Freddie. Freddie obeys and a sissy pink and white diaper is slid under his bottom. Lisa pulls the front of the diaper up between Freddie's legs and tapes the diaper on snugly. Jill hands her the pink plastic panties. Lisa puts them on Freddie, pulling them up and over his thick diaper. I suppose I have to sleep in this diaper, Freddie said. Yes, you will be in diapers for several days, Lisa replied. It is past 10 p.m., Freddie is dressed in an old nightgown of Lisa's which is short and pink made of nylon. Freddie does not like the sister baby treatment as punishment. Holler if you need your diaper changed, Jill stated, the toilet is off limits for now. You must improve your manners and toileting skills. Make sure to be clean around the home too. Yes ma'am, I am sorry to break 4 house rules so quickly. Freddie apologized, realizing he blew it here so far. I can change you later if needed, Lisa said. After midnight you will have to wait until morning. Freddie is left alone in his room. He turns on the color TV with the remote control. Freddie notices the bulk between his legs and the rustle of the plastic panties. He is very embarrassed to be treated like a boy at his age. A full package of diapers was found in the garage, so Freddie has plenty for diaper changes. Lisa and Jill talk in the kitchen after diapering their new boarder who is 30 years old. They hate to boot him out with 3 months' rent paid. It would not be right to have Freddie leave since he paid rent 3 months in advance, Jill told Lisa. I know what you mean and he deserves a second chance, Lisa agreed. We will keep him diapered through the weekend up until Wednesday morning. Sure, 4 days in diapers will give him time to think about improving his manners and bad toileting habits, Jill said. Mother finds her son Charlie to be immature. Although he is now an adult, his behavior is that of an infant. If that is not enough, Charlie is actually no bigger than your average infant. He is 5 foot tall, weighing 80 pounds. Charlie is small for his age. Mother homeschooled Charlie starting with high school and he easily graduated with good grades. Charlie used to wet the bed a lot when he was younger, however, he stopped as he got older. The family knew this, including his grandma. To avoid Charlie sitting at home alone all summer, he is being sent to grandma's. Mom works Monday through Friday, being divorced. She don't want Charlie home alone, he might get in some kind of trouble. Grandma is happy to take Charlie since Grandpa is going out of town for the summer. He is a traveling salesman with a large territory to cover. Grandma does not like the fact that Charlie has long blonde hair. She thinks he looks like a little girl this way. She is glad not to be alone for the entire summer. Today is Saturday, the 1st of June. After some discussion, Grace convinced Charlie he will enjoy staying with his Grandma Marie for the summer. They are in the car on the way to Grandma's with Charlie's luggage packed. Grandma lives in the country but has a nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. She works in a large garden, so they grow their own vegetables. They have chickens to eat and others to get eggs from. They like to be self-sufficient as much as possible. Grandpa is an excellent hunter. Grandma's refrigerator is stocked with frozen fresh vegetables, fish caught in the pond, and meat from Grandpa's hunting trips. They have venison or deer meat in the freezer. There is a cherry tree and an apple tree for fruit. Anything else needed is bought at the farmer's market. Grandma Marie is back home after some shopping and a trip to the farmer's market. She is waiting on the arrival of her daughter Grace and grandson Charlie. At about noon, their car pulls up in the long driveway. Grace and Chuck get out to give Grandma a hug and kiss. "Welcome to my home, it is great to see both of you," Grandma said. "I see you did not cut that long hair, Charlie." "No, Mom, I like it long and many men have longer hair," Charlie replied. "Mom don't mind if my hair is long." "I hated to force Charlie to cut his hair," Grace said. "I suggested this but left it up to Charlie." "No problem, I am sure Charlie will be good company with long hair," Grandma said, smiling at Grace. Grandma lives south of Little Rock outside of a small town called Pine Bluff. The small town is just 5 miles away from the grandparents' home. Grace stays to visit and has lunch with her mother. Charlie and Grace have country fried chicken with mashed potatoes made by Marie. "I expect you to obey your grandmother like you do me," Grace said to Charlie. "Be on your best behavior and help with the chores." "Sure, Mom, I love the idea of helping out in the garden and doing some fishing," Charlie admitted. "I plan on having fun too this summer." After Charlie brought in his luggage, Mom decided to leave for home back in Little Rock, Arkansas. Goodbye hugs and kisses are given before Grace left. Grandma shows Charlie around the farm like home. "You have been here before and nothing has changed," Grandma said. "This is my large vegetable garden. Down this path is a large fishing pond with a dock for swimming." "Yes, Grandma, I remember everything, but it has been 6 years since my last overnight visit," Charlie replied. "I am an adult now." Unknown to Charlie, Grandma stopped at a medical supply store early today. She picked up youth disposable diapers that are thick, white, and have a plastic outside. Grandma picked up a couple of pairs of red plastic pants too. She purchased baby powder and diaper rash cream. Also unknown to Charlie is that Grandma picked up a large crib at a yard sale and had it set up in her spare room. She also purchased a diaper table and both were cheap. Grandma remembers the way Charlie wet the bed almost every night the last time he was here. "The sky is certainly cloudy, so we better go inside," Grandma said. "I suggest a hot bath and that you wash your hair." "Okay, Grandma, if you insist," Charlie said, a bit puzzled. "I normally take a bath before bed." Grandma fills the tub in the hall bathroom with a warm scented bubble bath. Chuck undresses and takes a bath, also washing his hair. He found the disposable razor and shaved what little facial hair he has. Grandma made sure to rub him down with permanent hair remover. Grandma, that creamy stuff you rubbed all over me made my body hair wash off, Charlie exclaimed in disbelief. No worries, since that nasty hair is not needed, Grandma said. I put it on your face too so your whiskers stop growing. Charlie can't believe this and dries off with a large pink towel hanging in the bathroom. The washcloth was pink too and he used baby shampoo. Grandma took Charlie's clean clothes and put them back in his suitcase. She locked that away where Charlie won't find it. At another yard sale, Grandma purchased little girl's clothes in Charlie's size. He is going to be surprised at what Grandma has planned for Charlie. Grandma is a big strong farm woman who is boss in her house. You are very small for a male of your age, Grandma said, entering the bathroom. Your long hair makes you look like a little girl. I would prefer a little privacy, Charlie said, wrapping a towel around his waist. I am a small young man, Grandma, with long hair. I remember the last time you were here for a week and wet the bed almost every night, Grandma said, taking Charlie by the hand. I was 12 back then, Grandma, and quit wetting the bed after that, Charlie said, surprised by the comment. Charlie combed his long blonde hair when it was wet. He doesn't like the bare hairless legs. Charlie has no chest hair or hair on his arms. Grandma escorts him to the guest room, which is now a nursery. Charlie is shocked by what he sees. I can't stay in here, Grandma, Charlie said. This looks like a large toddler girl's room. This is where you will sleep all summer, Grandma insisted. In diapers every night and in the crib for your bedwetting. No way. Charlie exclaimed, you can't make me a toddler girl. The crib and matching diaper table are pink with a yellow vinyl mattress. The crib has yellow sheets and pillowcases. The vinyl-covered diaper table mattress is ready for use. The nursery is painted light yellow and has Disney princess pictures on the walls. Winnie the Pooh pictures are also on the walls. If you want to be a young man, you would have arrived with a neat short haircut, Grandma explained. You will be my little girl this summer. Charlie does not know what to do. He can't leave or anything like that. Suddenly Grandma scoops him up in her arms and removes his towel. Charlie is laid on his diaper table to have Grandma quickly lift him by both ankles. She raises his bare bottom and rubs in diaper rash cream. Charlie's front diaper area is done next as he is held firmly in place. Hey! What the heck is going on? Charlie complained, stop this. You are Grandma's cute little girl still needing diapers day and night, Grandma explained, opening a disposable diaper. Charlie is sprinkled with baby powder and patted down. Grandma lifts his bottom by grabbing both ankles and slips the diaper in place. She pulls the front of the thick disposable diaper up between Charlie's legs. The front and back are made even around the waist and pulled up. Grandma tapes the diaper on snugly. You are going to be the cutest, most well-behaved little girl any grandmother could hope for, Grandma said with a smile. She grabs a pair of the red plastic panties and puts Charlie's feet in the little holes. Charlie struggles uselessly and they have worked up his legs and over his thick diaper. Grandma has a cute Disney princess teal blue girl's t-shirt she puts on Charlie. He has red lacy top girl's socks put on his feet. Charlie doesn't like this at all. He is forced to be a little girl. Grandma will spank you over her knee if you ever take your diaper or girl's clothing off, sweetie, Grandma said sternly. Charlie is stood up by his crib where Grandma brushes his hair dry. She makes 2 long ponytails and ties them with blue ribbon. Chuck is cute with his hands on his hips looking like a little girl. He never thought for a second anything like this could happen. He repeats to Grandma that he stopped wetting the bed years ago. Naughty little boys who wet their bed never want to admit this, Grandma replied. Naughty little boys make nice little girls. Grandma has Charlie look in a full-length mirror. He is shocked to see a cute little girl looking back. A side view shows Charlie's thick diaper better and he waddles when he walks. From now on you are Claire, my little girl visiting for the summer, Grandma said. I have lots of diapers to change you when needed. Charlie is wondering if Mom knew anything about this situation. She often referred to him as immature for his age. Not cutting his hair was supposed to be his decision. Could this be some type of punishment? Claire is told to go play for a while outdoors. Red girl's tennis shoes are put on his feet for this. While Claire is outside, Grandma sets up a high chair in the kitchen. She has baby bottles, jarred baby food, and 2 pacifiers ready to use. Charlie as Claire will use his diapers and be changed like any little girl still in diapers. Outside, Charlie is no longer feeling his summer with Grandma will be a lot of fun. Fortunately, no one is around to see him as a diapered little girl. Charlie makes a cute and adorable little girl Claire. To his surprise, a small pickup truck pulls up the driveway. "Hello, little girl, is your grandma home?" Carrie asked. "I want to pick up a couple of dozen eggs. With lots of chickens, there are farm fresh eggs to sell. They go for $5 a dozen, which is a good price." Carrie lives on the next farm about 2 miles away. Carrie is pretty with pink shorts on. She has suntan legs and is wearing a white snap crotch bodysuit with a push-up bra. This gets Charlie's attention right away. Before making a comment on how hot she looks, Charlie realizes he is Claire now. "Yes, my grandma is in the house if you want to knock," Claire said in a high-pitched girl's voice. "You look too old to still be in diapers," Carrie stated. "Some take longer than others to potty train." This embarrasses Charlie as Claire and he walks away. Carrie knocks to have Grandma answer with a basket of 2 dozen eggs. She gets the $10 and thanks the young lady for stopping by. Grandma explains that her granddaughter Claire is here for the summer. "I hope I can get to know the little girl and do some babysitting if needed," Carrie said before leaving. At 6 p.m. Claire is told to come inside for supper. After coming in the door, Grandma picks her up and puts her in the high chair. Claire don't like this as the food tray is locked in place. A wide strap is fastened between her legs to prevent slipping out. "Grandma has jarred baby food to feed you tonight," she said, tying a bib around Claire's neck. A baby bottle of warm formula is placed on the food tray along with 2 jars of creamed peas and 1 jar of stewed prunes. Grandma proceeds to spoon-feed Claire and the stuff tastes terrible. Afterward, Claire is told to drink up her formula in the baby bottle. She slowly does this, fearing a spanking will occur if she disobeys Grandma. "Good girl, you drank it all up," Grandma said. "I will check you later to see if you are wet." "I am not wet now but will be soon since I have to pee," Claire replied. Part 4. Not long after being let out of her high chair, Claire wets her diaper. She tried to hold it at first but realized that is not possible. Soon afterward, Grandma does a diaper check to find Claire is wet. "No need to be shy about needing a diaper change," Grandma said, taking Chuck as Claire back to the nursery. Claire is picked up and laid on the diaper table. His red plastic panties are removed. A wet diaper is removed and disposed of in the diaper pail. Grandma proceeds to clean up Claire with baby wipes. Diaper rash cream and baby powder are applied. "Lift your bottom, sweetie, so I can slip this clean diaper in place," Grandma said, with Claire obeying. Grandma pulls the front of the diaper up between Claire's legs and tapes it on snugly. The plastic panties are put back on but Grandma removes the girl's t-shirt. "I will dress you for bed now since it is 7 p.m., Grandma said, smiling. A short pink little girl's nightgown is put on Claire. It is shiny pink with short puffy sleeves. The nightgown has a high rounded neck and fits well above Charlie as Claire's knees. He don't like the girl's nightgown. "I guess all my clothes will be for a little girl," Charlie stated. "I have a suitcase full of men's clothing." "You are my diapered little girl for the entire summer," Grandma said again. "Your suitcase is put away under lock and key." Since Charlie has basically been good so far under Grandma's care as Claire, he can stay up until 9 p.m. Claire waddles to the living room to watch television. Grandma brings a baby bottle of cold water for Claire to drink. Homemade chocolate chip cookies are served for a late dessert. Grandma insists Claire not watch adult programming. At 9 p.m. Claire is told it is bedtime and she objects to this. Charlie is used to staying up until 11 p.m. or later, like midnight on weekends. He is carried to the nursery and wets his diaper on the way. Grandma knows a clean diaper is likely needed. Claire is changed on her diaper table and redressed for bed. Diaper rash cream and baby powder was used. Claire is put down in her crib with a diaper, red plastic panties, and pink nightgown. He is really embarrassed to be tucked in this way. Grandma raises both high crib sides until they lock. A dim nightlight is left on for Claire. "Sweet dreams, baby girl," Grandma said, leaving the nursery. Grandma Marie fixes a place in the living room for Claire. Tomorrow she can rest and relax here in front of the television. This will be a good place to take naps if needed. A blanket is put on the carpet with a big plushy bear. A plushy black and white tiger and a pink teddy bear are put here. A girl's dolly is also put in the play area. Grandma is pleased with how things are going. She has the little girl still in diapers she always wanted to take care of. Grandma calls Grace, who knew all about her mother's plans for Charlie. They talk, laugh, and giggle about the situation and Chuck's reaction to being Claire. Mom thinks about keeping Charlie as Claire after he comes back home. The next morning Claire wakes in her crib in a very wet diaper. It is 8 a.m. when Grandma comes to the nursery. She lowers the sides and gets Claire on the diaper table. Chelsea is cleaned and changed into a new diaper. Grandma tapes it on snug but leaves off the plastic panties. The teal blue Disney princess t-shirt is put on Claire. "I made a play area for you in the living room," Grandma said. "Let me take you there while I fix breakfast." "Okay, Grandma, I hope breakfast is not baby food," Charlie as Claire said. Claire is taken to the play area where he sits sucking his thumb in a diaper and t-shirt. Could Charlie be regressing? So far he makes a darling little girl still in diapers. Soon Grandma arrives, she picks up Claire and takes her to the kitchen. Claire is placed in her high chair and a bib tied around her neck that says baby girl. "I have some yummy oatmeal with apples and cinnamon to feed you," Grandma said, bringing over a bowl and spoon. Claire is spoon-fed breakfast at first and given a baby bottle of warm formula afterward. Today is Sunday, Grandma has a bowl of oatmeal herself. She takes Claire back to the play area with a second baby bottle that contains cold water. "I have some chores to do in the kitchen," Grandma said, "stay here and drink your cold water." Grandma is a neat woman and does not leave dishes laying in the sink. She cleans the kitchen and takes out the trash after sweeping the floor. The television was turned on for Claire to watch. A couple of hours later Grandma returns to the play area to find Claire is napping with a dolly in her lap. She is resting up against the big teddy bear. Grandma smiles when she notices Claire has a poopy diaper on. A pooped bottom is clearly visible even when diapered. "Wake up, little girl, so Grandma can change your poopy diaper," she said, smiling at Charlie as Claire. "Hun? What?" "I did not know I pooped my diaper," Claire replied. Grandma picks up Claire and carries her to the nursery. Claire is put on the diaper table and changed into a clean diaper. Charlie as Claire has no choice but to be the diapered little girl Grandma wanted. Kenny Lynch is getting a PlayStation 5 for Christmas. I mentioned to my mother over breakfast one morning. "Lucky boy," my mother replied. "I hope his parents can afford one. They're still not cheap." "I know," I replied. "The FIFA game is like £6 to £5. Mum replied as she buttered her toast. "Remember what we talked about before your birthday," she said. "I don't want you getting your hopes up this year." "No," I replied, glaring glumly for a moment into my cereal bowl. A few days later. It's break time at school and me and a couple of friends are sheltering in a doorway, keeping out of the icy biting wind. Robert said he was hoping to get a gravel bike for Christmas and Peter said he'd got a CX bike for his birthday. I'd like a PS5 but my folks can't afford one, he added. Kenny Lynch said he's getting one. I commented. I'm surprised he hasn't already got one. His dad's loaded. Robert claimed. So what you getting for Christmas? Peter asked me. Petticoated. I bluntly replied. His eyes widened and Robert's jaw dropped. You're kidding? Peter chuckled, somewhat nervously. I shook my head and gulped. You're not kidding, he said. I skewed my jaw. Geez, that sucks, he said. Yeah. I frowned. Mum was gonna do it for my birthday but she decided to delay it. I thought you had to be 13. Robert said. My cousin got petticoated on his 13th birthday. My aunt reckons it should be the 12th birthday 'cause after that you're in your 13th year. I replied. Have you got a petticoated cousin too? Robert quizzed. Nah. She's got 2 daughters. I stated. What's your cousin like? Well, he's about 20 now, so back to normal, but I remember him when I was a kid, having to wear a dress every Sunday. I can't believe you're gonna be petticoated, Mike. Peter said. Me neither. I replied. I can think of better things to get for Christmas. I dryly added. Will you have to dress like a girl for school? Robert asked. Dunno. I shrugged. I hope not. I said. Did your cousin? Dunno. Robert shrugged. I only really saw him on Sundays when we visited my gran. Tilda 000 tilde. A week passed. I bumped into Peter's mum in town today, my mother told me as I sat quietly doing my homework. You told him about being petticoated, she said. Yeah. I replied. He asked me what I was getting for Christmas. I added. Oh. Mum said. I thought you'd have kept it to yourself, she presumed. Was he okay about it? Well, he said he couldn't believe it, and Robert said he had a cousin who was petticoated. I told her. You told Robert as well, she quizzed. I nodded. And was he okay with it too? I don't know. They didn't tease me but they weren't exactly envious either. I retorted, sighing. Mum responded. I didn't think you'd tell anyone. Well, they'd probably find out sooner or later. I figured. Mum said. So, what did Robert say about his cousin? She asked. Not much. I replied. He's about 20 now, so all back to normal. I told her, adding that he was petticoated on his 13th birthday. That's a year too late according to Auntie Andrea. Mum commented, before guessing that Robert would have been about 5 years old when his cousin was first petticoated. Yeah. I concurred. He only saw him on Sundays when they visited their grandmother. So he'll have been wearing a Sunday dress then? Mum said. I nodded. She smiled. Will I have to wear a Sunday dress? Of course, she replied. Every Sunday? I asked. She nodded. It's gonna be so weird. I said. Only at first, she told me. You'll get used to it in no time, she claimed. So, what did Pete's mum say? I asked after a moment of silence. Not much. I think she thought Peter was making it up because she looked quite surprised when I said you were. I also got the feeling that she didn't really approve of petticoating, but she didn't say anything untoward. I replied. I wish you didn't approve. I glumly said. I know. Mum said in a warm, friendly tone. It's only natural that she began. Actually, it's natural that you're hesitant, she said. Boys will be boys and girls will be girls are social constructs. Girls aren't born wanting to wear pretty clothes, that's drummed into them from day one. It's the same for boys. If the world was different, a boy wouldn't bat an eyelid if he was given a nice dress, just like girls don't bother when they're given boyish clothes to wear. But the world isn't different. It is what it is, and boys don't dress like girls, well, not normally. I know, but petticoating is changing the world one boy at a time, she told me. You'll come out the other end a perfectly normal young man. You'll have excellent school grades, a strong sense of self, plenty of confidence and a much broader outlook than your peers. Yeah, but apart from the grades, I'm not sure what all that means. I said. You don't need to really. Mum replied. Think of it like all those kids who only eat pizzas and burgers and fries. They don't understand why they should have a healthy, balanced diet, but when they're older and unfit and possibly obese as well, they'll look back and wish they'd done things differently. But it's not their fault. It's their parents that feed them loads of I mean, bad food. Exactly. Mum smiled. I don't want you being 30 years old, working in a minimum wage job, wishing you'd done better at school and regretting getting in with the wrong crowd, but ultimately it's down to the parent to steer the child in the right direction so they can do their best at school and curtail their social circles when they're at their most vulnerable, she explained, adding if that makes sense. I think so. I replied, although I wasn't really sure. It wasn't the first time she talked about the ins and outs of petticoat discipline. ~000. It's only a fortnight until Christmas and the last week of term before school breaks up. It's registration, and as the form teacher is reading out the final few names from the register, the headmistress enters the form room and smiles ominously in my direction. Vanessa Watson. Here, miss. Paul Wilkinson. Here, miss. Andrew Woods. Here, miss. Claire Yates. Here, miss. Andrea York. Here, miss. The register is closed. Right, class, don't worry. You're not in trouble, the form teacher said, turning her attention to the headmistress. The usually stern woman smiles at the class, before asking me to stay behind after the class has been dismissed. All eyes turn on me for a brief moment before the school bell rings, then the room is filled with a cacophony of scraping chair legs and clattering feet as everyone grabs their coats and bags and filters out of the classroom. Everyone except me, that is. There have been occasions when, after being assured that I'm not in any trouble, it turns out I am in trouble, so I can't help but fearfully wonder why the headmistress wants to speak with me. She and the form teacher wait patiently for everyone to leave, and once they have, the door is closed. Don't look so worried, Michael, the headmistress smiled. You're not in any trouble, she assured. Okay. I gulped. I wasn't convinced. She and my form teacher pulled up a chair each, close to my desk. Now, the headmistress smiled. Your mother informed us some time ago that things are going to change, for you, over the Christmas holidays. Oh. I said, knowing exactly what this was about. It's okay. Don't worry, my form teacher said. You're not the first petticoated boy I've had in my class, and you certainly won't be the last. And you won't be the only one in the school, the headmistress added. And before you ask, I shan't tell you who the others are, she informed me. Similarly, your confidentiality is assured, but occasionally. I've already told Peter and Rob. I interrupted. Oh, the headmistress chirped. Did you let something slip or No, miss, they asked me what I was getting for Christmas and I said I was getting petticoated. I replied. They seemed surprised. I mean, I'd rather not, but I am. I told them. Mum was gonna do it for my birthday in the summer but decided to delay it till Christmas. Yes, the headmistress replied. New year, new start, she said. How are Peter and Robert when you told them? My form teacher asked. Okay, I guess. They didn't say much. They couldn't believe it, but Robert said he had a cousin who was petticoated, my form teacher said. Yes, miss, it was years ago, I said. She asked when I told my friends. I thought for a moment. Couple of weeks back, I replied. And no one else has said anything to you about it, the headmistress asked. No, I said. Is this about them? No. Not at all, the headmistress replied. We're just here to assure you that you have our full support, and if you experience any taunting, teasing or bullying, to report it immediately, she said. Okay, I said. Now, do you know if your mother is planning on you attending school wearing the girl's uniform? I don't know, miss, I said. I hope not. Well, if you do, we have a zero-tolerance policy regarding any teasing or taunting of petticoated boys. I'd have thought you'd have a zero-tolerance policy for that sort of stuff for all the kids, I said. Petticoated or not, I don't want any special treatment. Stammering somewhat, the form tutor said that they do have a zero-tolerance approach to all bullying of any student. We're not trying to single you out, Michael, as some sort of special case, she said, performing an air quote. But some of the other kids might single you out, and should that occur, we want to nip it in the bud, so to speak. Okay, I said. Thanks. Now the equal opportunity policies we have to abide by means we can't stop a parent or guardian from sending a petticoatee to school wearing the girl's uniform. Sometimes it happens only occasionally if you've been misbehaving at home, or we did have a boy who wore it day in day out for several terms, similarly his PE kit, swimming class, she explained. Well, like I said, I hope Mum doesn't, but if I have to wear it, I have to wear it. I shrugged. I suppose I'd better ask her. Yes, the headmistress replied. May I add that it's not just on the school grounds. If anything happens on the way to or from school, or even at the weekends or during the holidays, if it involves one of our students, we want to know about it, my form teacher said. Yes, absolutely. The headmistress concurred. Okay. Thank you, I said. Shall I began to stand. Get myself to class. Not just yet, Michael, my form teacher replied. Yes, there's still a couple of other things to discuss, the headmistress added. Oh, okay, I said, sitting myself down. Now, as mentioned, you're not the first petticoatee we've had, and you won't be the last, and whilst we don't want to single you out as a special case, the headmistress said, performing an air quote. The simple fact remains that as a petticoated boy, you are a, cue another air quote, special case. Or, will be, next term, my form teacher interjected, smiling, briefly. Yes, the headmistress concurred. You will be expected to be on your best behavior at all times, she informed me. I usually am, miss, I stated. Usually, my form teacher said. The headmistress continued. We will not tolerate any disruptive behavior, teasing, taunting or bullying, rudeness, backchat, lateness, truancy, incomplete or late homework assignments. The list went on and on, so much so my mind began to wander. As a petticoated boy, you're a heartbeat away from being put in isolation or being given a half or full detention. Do you understand? She informed me. Yes, miss, I replied. I hope so, she sternly replied. Because being put in isolation or being given a detention means you shall report to the school nurse first and foremost, and you will be put in a nappy, she informed me. My jaw dropped. And you shall remain in one until you arrive home, she stated. I wanted to say, are you fucking kidding me? But I knew she was being absolutely serious. Your mother will be informed, and depending on the severity of your misbehavior, may send you to school the following day wearing another one. I gulped. I could feel the blood draining from my face. Should that be the case, which I sincerely hope it never will be, you shall report to the school nurse before registration, again during morning break, once again at lunchtime, and finally during your afternoon break, she told me. Is that absolutely clear, Michael? Yes, miss. I humbly replied, feeling myself blushing profusely. I certainly hope so, Michael, she told me. I glanced at my form teacher, who cast me a brief yet friendly smile. It'll never come to that, will it, Michael? She said. No, miss. I humbly replied. I was given leave to attend my class, so grabbed my coat and back. Thank you, miss, I said as I scuttled away. Technically I wasn't in any trouble, but I felt like I'd just been given the bollocking of a lifetime. Talk about putting the fear of God in me. Tilda 000 tilde. How was school, love? Mum asked when I returned home. Okay, I replied. You don't sound so sure, she said. Has something happened? Not really. I was kept back after registration so the headmistress could talk to me about being petticoated. I told her. I see. Mum replied. What did she say? Well, first of all it was just about if anyone teases or bullies me, but then she said that if I misbehave in any way, I'll be put in a nappy and then put in isolation or given a detention. I told her. And sent home wearing it. You won't misbehave, will you? My mother casually replied. I never do. It's just the thought of it. I fearfully replied. I suppose you already knew that. Mum nodded. I figured it was best that the school told you since it's their rule and not mine, but they did ask me to sign a consent form, which I did, she told me. My eyes widened as I realized my mother gave them permission to do that. It'll never come to that so long as you behave yourself, Michael, she defensively claimed. And you'll be wearing nappies for bed anyway. It's one thing wearing a nappy for bed, it's something else being put in one at school, I retorted. And having to walk home in it. So long as you behave yourself, my mother casually reiterated. Which I'm sure you can. You've only had one detention since starting high school, and that was for a stupid prank. Yeah, but, the way Mrs. Trimble spoke, once I'm petticoated I'll get done for the slightest little thing. I whined. Behaving is easy, Michael. Misbehaving takes a bit more effort. You've nothing to worry about. The chances of you being put in a nappy at school are slim. Mum said. Providing. Yeah, I get it. I replied. I hoped the headmistress was laying it on thick for effect. Being given a detention for the slightest bit of backchat seems a bit harsh. Oh, that's another thing, I said. What? Will I have to wear the girl's uniform? I asked. When I'm petticoated. You mean a skirt? Mum replied. If you want to, she added. Why would I want to? There's always a handful of boys who don skirts in the height of summer because they can't wear short trousers. Oh yeah, I replied. But you're not gonna make me dress like a girl for school. So long as you're good, you can wear what you like. Mum told me. Cool. Thanks, Mum. I smiled. Mrs. Trimble said if you wanted to send me in a skirt she couldn't do anything to stop you. She can't. The law says they can't specify one uniform for boys and another girls. Yeah, I know that. I'm just making sure I won't have to wear a skirt for school. Well, like I say, it's entirely up to you. Mum smiled. But you will have a school skirt. What? Why? To wear when you're doing your homework, she told me. I sighed. You'll probably prefer it to a pretty dress, which is what you'll be wearing after you've done our homework, she added. Yeah, probably, I replied. Tilda 000 tilde. The following Friday was the last day of term before school broke up for Christmas. After that I'd have one more week of normality before becoming a petticoated boy for the next. I don't even want to think about it. Lessons were so relaxed we may as well not have attended. Some teachers conducted a quiz, others let us play games or just chat, and most of them enthusiastically asked if we were all looking forward to Christmas. Yeah, most would respond. I'd murmur something vague, glancing at either Peter or Robert, who'd look at me with pitiful eyes. During the afternoon break, we huddled in a doorway, out of the breeze. "I take it you've not told anyone else what you're getting for Crimbo?" Robert said. "No one else has asked," I replied. "So it's just us two that know?" Peter asked. "You and all the teachers," I told him. "How do they know?" he quizzed. "My mum told them, months ago," I said, before telling him that Mrs. Trimble and my form teacher kept me back after registration on Monday to tell me that they'll support me and that I need to report anyone who teases or bullies me. Apparently I'm not the only one, but they wouldn't tell me who else is petticoated, not that I'd want to know. I told them. "So, have neither of you two said out about me?" I asked. "I told my mum but no one else," Peter confessed. "Me too," Robert said. "I half expected it to go round like wildfire after telling you," I said. "Well, if it was me, I wouldn't want anyone to know," Robert replied. "So I didn't tell anyone, apart from my mum," he told me. "Same here," Peter said. "My mum bumped into yours a couple of weeks back," I told him. "Your mum thought you'd made it up, or that's what my mum reckoned when she asked her about it." "She did," Peter replied. "I got told off for making up stories, then she apologized after seeing your mum in Teen Scene," he said. "She doesn't approve. She reckons boys should be boys and girls should be girls." "So do I, funnily enough," I dryly retorted. "I bet you do," Robert commented. "So what did your mum say?" I asked him. "Same really, although when my cousin was petticoated, she reckoned he needed it 'cause he was going off the rails. Do you remember that?" "'Cause I was telling my mum and she reckoned you was only like 5 when he was 13. I was 7, turns out he's 18 and not 20. Robert replied. "And yeah, I do remember because I had to wear a dress to his birthday parties." "You wore a dress?" Peter and I blurted in unison. "Yeah," he frowned. "He was being petticoated, so he was wearing one, and his mum requested all boys attending wore dresses too, so my mum put me in one of my sister's party dresses." "What was that like?" "Bit weird, but everyone else was wearing one, so," he shrugged. "But when he was 15 and I was 10, I was like, nah, not wearing one." "You wore one every year?" "Blimey. You kept that quiet," Peter said. "Do you blame me?" Robert replied. "And it was only 3 times, and they weren't mine, they were my sister's." "I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse," I replied. "On the one hand, Robert is the only one of us who's already had to wear dresses, but on the other, it's over for him and I'm yet to begin." "Did your cousin know he was gonna be petticoated?" "I don't think he did," Robert said. "He cried a lot on his first birthday." "Can we change the subject?" Peter suggested. "Yeah," I replied. "I want one last week where I don't have to think about it." "That's gonna be easier said than done." "I know, but I'm gonna try." Tilde 000 tilde. It was the quickest week of my life. I'd met up with Pete and Rob a couple of times and we didn't mention the P word. At home it was another matter. My big sister was back from uni and she reckoned it'll be fun, being petticoated, like having a little sister. Although Mum insisted that I'll always be her brother, petticoated or not. Mum and my sister were looking through some old photo albums, focusing on the pictures from Christmas past rather than the summer holidays we enjoyed. "Oh, this one's nice," they agreed, revealing a picture of me aged 9. I'm proudly holding the Lego Hogwarts castle that I got for Christmas that year and my hair is hanging on my shoulders. "You really should grow your hair out again, you looked so cute." I was 9. "Course I looked cute," I retorted. "I'll be 13 in the summer." "You'll also be petticoated," my sister said. "If you grew your hair out again you'd look like a girl." I don't want to look like a girl. Maybe not today, but what about when you're wearing a dress, she said. Would you rather people think you're a girl or know you're a boy? I don't know. I frowned. I tried to imagine myself in a public place, dressed as a girl yet looking like a boy. Everyone's going to know I'm a boy anyway, I figured. Not if you grew your hair again, my sister stated, once again showing me the photograph taken on Christmas Day, 3 years previously. What do you think, Mum? She asked. It's entirely up to your brother, Mum replied. People who don't know him will probably think he's a girl whether he's got short hair or long hair, but what we don't do with petticoated boys is pretend that they're girls. What's the point of making me dress like a girl then? To curb any boisterous urges, Mum replied. It's been well documented that boys behave better when they're dressed like girls. I behave myself anyway, I reminded her. Mum told me that in that case, the only way is up, before embarrassing herself by bursting into some ancient old 80s song and dancing along. Baby, for you and me now. Mum and my sister spend a lot of time rummaging through boxes in the attic, and I knew they were sorting through her old things for me. I'd overhear her saying stuff like, "Do you think this'd fit him?" And Mum saying, "No, but he'll grow into it, and these are cute," followed by, "I know, I can't wait to see him in them." The attic isn't a pokey space at the top of the house, it's a floor in itself with a landing, a large dusty attic room, a small box room and several storage spaces in the eaves. Every time I crept up the attic stairs to find out what they were doing, Mum would hear the creaky steps and tell me to go back downstairs. As well as sorting things in the attic, they were also sorting my things, and I'd say stuff like, "Can I keep this?" And Mum'd say, "Well, you won't need it, or you won't read it, or you're too old for toys like that." I couldn't fathom her logic. My Woody from Toy Story toy was to keep, but Buzz Lightyear had to go. I could keep the Lego Hogwarts but not the Minecraft fortress. When I noticed that half of my books and board games had gone, I crept up to the attic to see where they were, but no matter how lightly I trod on the stairs, they creaked and alerted Mum. "The attic is out of bounds in December, Michael, you know that," Mum told me. "It's where she always hides the Christmas presents, but that's not what I'm looking for. I know, I'm just getting loads of girls' stuff for Christmas. I'm looking for my Harry Potter books." "You don't need them this instant, and the attic is out of bounds," she stated. "Down you come, and don't let me catch you sneaking up there again." "Sorry," I murmured as I descended the stairs, each one emitting its own distinctive creak. "I wasn't looking for Christmas presents," I told her. "I know you wasn't," Mum replied. "I've seen half of them already because Mum has made no bones about me seeing some of the things she's bought me, such as a girl's Christmas jumper with a reindeer and its name Dancer in glittery lettering. I also saw a girl's hat, scarf, and gloves set on the kitchen table, and Mum told me that they're for Christmas before packing them away, and several pairs of girls' winter tights with snowflake and star patterns, which I was also told are for Christmas before being put away. But worst of all was a few days ago when I couldn't help but blurt what the packaging stated. "Boys' knickers. They do make them for boys," Mum told me. "And they're for Christmas, so leave them be," she added, putting them away. Part of me wondered if I was better off knowing what was coming, or if, like Robert's cousin, it'd be better to know nothing until the last minute. I figured I was better off knowing and thinking about it. If I had been petticoated on my 12th birthday, I'd have been 6 months in by now and probably totally accustomed to being a petticoated boy. It's too much to process, so I tried not to think about it, but that's so much easier said than done. ~000. Christmas Eve was upon me. My final day of normality. Mum allowed me to meet up with Peter and his sister in town. She gave me a £5 note with which to buy my sister something nice. "I've already got her a present," I replied, that being a box of Thornton's chocolates. When I met my friend, his sister immediately asked if I was the boy being petticoated. "Helen," Peter blurted. "We don't mention the P word," he told her. "Sorry," she said. "Must be a bit daunting," she said, smiling empathetically at me. "Just a bit," I replied. She asked if I was all set, which means, have I bought all of the gifts I'll be giving, so I told her I had to buy something for my sister. She's 19. I told her, adding that I have a £5 budget. She suggested Thornton's chocolates. I've already got her some of those. I replied. How about a nice soap and shower gel set, she suggested. Bayliss and Harding do some nice ones. Where's that? It's not a shop, it's a brand, she grinned, and promptly marched us to TK Maxx. There was huge selection to choose from and plenty priced at £5, mostly packaged in pink and flowery boxes. I'll probably be unwrapping something like this myself, I figured as I chose a set that Peter's sister suggested. The route to the counters took us through the girls' clothes section and Helen stopped a few times to admire a skirt, then a dress, then the handbags. I felt completely out of place in the girls' department, as I expect Peter did too, but I couldn't help but wonder if I'd soon begin to feel comfortable amongst the skirts and frocks and flouncy tops in any of the high street shops. The toiletries set was gift-wrapped free of charge at the counter, in pink sparkly paper and tied with a baby pink ribbon. Didn't you get a carrier? Peter asked as I joined him, clutching the overtly girly gift. I didn't think about that. Maybe I should have, but it's too late now. People might think it's for you, he added. No, they won't, his sister said, before asking if everyone knows that I'm going to be petticoated. I told her that Peter and Robert know, and all my teachers at school. But it's only a matter of time, I guess. I mused. No offense, Mike, but I'm glad it's you and not me. I'd be mortified. Pete told me. I am mortified. I replied. And will be even more tomorrow. I said, looking at my sister's gift. This is probably what all my Christmas presents are gonna look like. I frowned. Is it your birthday tomorrow too? Helen asked me. I shook my head. Huh? I thought boys were always petticoated on their birthday, she said. Not me. I replied. But my mum was thinking about doing it then. She asked when my birthday was, then asked how long I'd known. Since summer. I told her. Weird. Normally they're just drop straight in it, no warning, no nothing, she told me. I think it's cruel doing it like that. One day you're hoping to get a new bike or a games console, the next you've got dresses and makeup. I said. I suppose they drop them in at the deep end so they don't run away or something. Helen said. That's what I'd do. Peter said. And go where? I asked. You're 12. You'd only get caught and put in one of those petticoating boarding schools where they make them wear a nappy instead of knickers, his sister told him. Peter claimed she was making it up and I'd never heard of such a place, but Helen was adamant that there are boarding schools that enforce petticoating and that the boys at least have to wear nappies at bedtime. So I guess it could be worse, Mike, she said to me. Yeah. I replied, before suggesting we change the subject. We browsed the gaming shops and loitered outside a couple of girls' clothes shops whilst his sister went inside. First she spent 10 long minutes in Teen Scene, then wanted to go into Candy Girl. Don't be ages. Peter told her. She suggested we could come inside. No thanks, we more or less said in unison. She's taking ages. Peter moaned after 5 minutes. The sign above the door has big pink letters with heart-shaped dots over the eyes. The display on one side of the door was of winter coats and boots, the other is sparkly dresses. It must be freezing wearing a dress at this time of year. I commented. You'll have tights. Peter said, adding that plenty of girls at school don't even wear those in the winter. Will you have to dress like a girl next term? He asked. No, thank God. I replied. Would you still be my mate if I did? Course I would, he told me. It'd be a bit weird to begin with, but after a while it'd just be normal, I guess. That's what my mum keeps saying. I said, sighing. You won't be offended if I don't invite you round to my house? I quizzed. I think my bedroom's supposed to be getting redecorated, I added. So it's like a girl's room, which will be pretty embarrassing. Blimey, he grimaced. Will you still be allowed to come to mine? I hope so, and Mum said I wouldn't have to dress like a girl all the time. Just most of the time, he said. I nodded. Finally, he said when his sister exited the store. You were ages. Well, there's lots to look at, she said. A couple of candy girl bags hung from her hands. She checked the time and said we should think about heading home soon. Do you have a curfew, Mike? She asked me. Mum just said home before dark. I replied. We browsed a couple more gift shops before parting company. I said my goodbyes and Helen gave me a hug, which was nice I suppose, before giving me one of the candy girl bags. I got you present. I hope you don't mind and I don't mind if you don't like it, she told me. He won't want out from there, Helen. Peter exclaimed. He was right, but politely I said it was okay and thanked her. Have a good Christmas. I said. I guess I'll see you on the other side. I glumly added. Anne, thanks again for this. I said to his sister. Hope you like it, she smiled. I walked home with the pink gift-wrapped present for my sister in one hand and the pink candy girl bag in the other. Mum asked if I'd had a nice time. Oh, you got her something from Candy Girl, she presumed, noticing my carrier bag. No. I got her this. I said, raising the pink-wrapped package. Peter's sister gave me this. What is it? Dunno. I shrugged. Something girly, I guess. A Christmas present, she asked. I nodded. Well, put it under the tree, she said. Whilst I was out, the base of the tree has been stacked with numerous gifts, each and every one in girly gift wrapping. I froze as I noticed them. They're not all for you. Mum said. Phew. I replied. Mum smiled. Are we allowed to open one gift before bed this year? I asked. Of course, she told me. I wanna see what Helen got me. I said. You'll have to wait for morning to open that. I've already decided which one you're going to open tonight. It's not gonna be a nightie, is it? I knowingly replied, having seen a girl's nightwear set, aged 12 to 14 on the sideboard a couple of weeks ago. It's a surprise, she told me. I'm not gonna get any surprises this year. I told her. Unless you've decided you're not gonna petticoat me after all. After all the money I've spent on nice things for you, that's really not going to happen. I know. I glumly said. Mum smiled down on me. I hated the idea of being petticoated, but I knew she was doing it because she loved me. What? I asked, and her smile grew ever more empathetic. Well, I do feel the need to forewarn you of something, she told me. What? I cautiously asked. Well, your petticoating starts tomorrow. I know that. I murmured. And tomorrow starts at midnight. Yeah. I cautiously replied. Well, that means you have to wear your first bedtime nappy tonight. What? I whined. I tutted. I thought that would be tomorrow. I huffed. It's an important part of your changeover that you're petticoated when you wake up, she told me. But you won't have to go to bed early, you can go at your usual time, one last time, she added as if that was some sort of consolation I'd be grateful for. But that's not fair, Mum. I thought today was my last day when everything would be normal. I whined. And tomorrow's your first day of being a petticoatee, and you need to be aware of that from the moment you wake up, which is why you need to wear a nappy tonight, she told me. I'm sorry. Maybe I should have waited until bedtime to tell you. At least I wouldn't have spent the rest of today knowing I'd have to wear a nappy tonight. I thought that was tomorrow. I'm sorry, my love, but either way, you'd have been wearing it tonight and you'd still wake up wearing it tomorrow, and your first pair of knickers won't seem so bad after a nappy, do you understand? I guess. I sighed. What's up? My sister asked, entering the kitchen and hearing my woeful tones. Petty stuff. Mum told her. Nothing you need to worry about. Mum says I have to wear my first nappy tonight instead of tomorrow. I grumbled. Oh. I see, my sister said. Well, that's not so bad considering you were supposed to be petticoated 6 months ago, she told me. And even then, you'd have had to wear your first one the night before your birthday, isn't that right, Mummy? It is. Mum replied. It's just the way it's done. Okay. I mournfully said. What do you want for supper tonight? Mum asked. Anything you want. Burgers, pizza, KFC. Can we get KFC? I enthused. Yes, but it will be very busy tonight, it'll be a long wait. Mum said. Not if I pre-order through the app, my sister said, getting out her phone. What time do you want to eat? She asked. About an hour? Mum replied. My sister tapped and swiped, ordered a boneless family box, plenty of fries, wings, some sides, and the drinks. All done, Mummy, she smiled. It'll be ready at 6:45, so if I set off at past. It's amazing what you can do on the phone these days. Mum said. You wanna come with me? She asked. Can I? I enthused. There's no excitement in going to KFC and back, but I've never been in my sister's car before, so being driven somewhere by her rather than by Mum is what I'm looking forward to. Half an hour quickly passed before my sister grabbed her car keys and handbag. Mum told me to be good as we left. I will. I said, although I struggled to think how I could possibly misbehave just going across town and back with my sister. Can I sit in the front? I asked. Course you can. One last time, she replied. I opened the door and climbed in, pulling it shut. She got in the driver's side. Why is it one last time? I quizzed. Because there's lots of little rules for petticoated boys, and one of them is they only ever sit in the back of a car, so this is the last time you'll be allowed in the front seat, she told me. Here, hold this on your lap, she said, passing me her handbag. I grimaced, not actually wanting to hold the dainty pink satin bag with its girly bow design and sparkly clasp. It's nothing to be afraid of, she grinned. And you'll have handbags of your own soon enough. It's gonna be so horrible having to dress like a girl. I told her, nervously holding her handbag. Only 'cause you've dressed as a boy your whole life. You'll have loads more choices after tomorrow. No, I won't. It'll just be dresses and skirts. Yeah, but there's loads of different types of dresses and loads of different types of skirts, she told me. Plus you'll have long pants and short pants, cropped pants and pedal pushers, jumpsuits, playsuits, dungarees, culottes, shirts and blouses, t-shirts, vests and camisole tops. You'll be overwhelmed with how many different types of clothes you'll have to choose from, she told me. I'm looking forward to teaching you how to mix and match and accessorize, she smiled. I know you'll always be my brother, but it'll be like having a new little sister, she said. And we've sorted out loads of my old clothes for you, so it won't just be prissy little girl dresses like most petticoated boys have. You'll be able to be fashionable and trendy as well. I just want to be a normal boy. You will be. And Mummy's only doing this because she loves you. That's the other thing that's going to be weird. Having to call her Mummy again. It'll be normal before you know it, and little things like that, and going back into bedtime nappies is to help you not grow up too quickly, which can be a big problem for a lot of teenage boys. Yeah, I know. I glumly replied. I didn't know, to be honest, but Mum has talked to me about it sporadically yet extensively in recent months, so much so that even in my ignorance I feel like I understand why I need to be petticoated. It wouldn't be so bad if every boy had to do it, but I feel like I'm the only one. There's quite a few boys at university who are petticoated. It's easy for us women to spot who they are because they're respectful and humble and intelligent and talented. The others who won't act like overgrown children, treating the campus like a schoolyard, she told me. You won't fully understand for years to come, but a little bit of girl time goes a long, long way. The next 3.5 years is more than a little bit of girl time. I sighed. It does seem like a long time, but at the end, it'll only count for around 20% of your life. That's 1/5, which is a small portion, she told me. When you're 21 it'll be a seventh, and when you're 30 it'll be 1/10. Not long at all in the great scheme of things, she said as we turned into the retail park that is home to KFC. Yeah, I suppose when you put it like that, I said. She found a parking space close the entrance and asked for her handbag. Checking the app on her phone, she said we were 5 minutes early and thus had a 5-minute wait. She propped the phone on the dashboard where it displayed a countdown, and after topping up her lipstick, she handed the handbag back to me to hold. Hey, do you remember going to Auntie Sandra's wedding? Vaguely, I replied. Why? I reckon my bridesmaid's dress might fit you. I'd love to see you in that. You? I grimaced. Was it flowery? I recalled. No, it was ivory, she replied. The flowery one was for Janice and Ken's wedding. That'll be far too big for you, she informed me. Right, 2 minutes, she said. I'll be back in a tick. She grabbed her phone, opened the door and got out. Don't you need this? I said, holding out her handbag. I've already paid, you hang on to it. The door slammed shut and I found myself alone with the girly pink handbag in my hands. I gulped at it. You'll have handbags of your own soon enough, I recalled my sister telling me. Handbags? I said to no one but myself, dwelling on the plural. That means more than one, I mused. All the time I've been worrying about being petticoated, I've focused mostly on the dresses. But there's so much more: handbags, heels, lipstick, hair clips, and the prospect of having my bedroom redecorated so it's like a girl's room with pink wallpaper and Barbie bedding. I was so lost in my thoughts and fears that I jumped out of my skin when my sister opened the car door. She gave me her phone to put in her handbag and put the KFC bag in the rear footwell. I hope Mummy's remembered to warm some plates, she said. You don't have to call her Mummy, it's me who has to do that, from tomorrow. I said. I know, but if it helps you adapt, I don't mind calling her Mummy too. In fact, I quite like it. It feels more friendly than Mum, don't you think? It's infantile. Yeah, but that's the point, she said as she started the engine. It's still nice though, she added. Mum's too blunt. Mother's too formal and Mummy's just right. I responded. Given the choice, I'd prefer Mum, but like many things in a 12-year-old like, most choices aren't mine to make. Well, I'm not gonna call her Mummy until I have to, I retorted. And is that when you're wearing your nappy or your knickers? My sister asked. I didn't reply. We barely chatted at all on the way back. Penny for your thoughts, my sister eventually said. What are you thinking? Oh, I don't know. All sorts of things. I sighed. This time tomorrow'll be my bedtime. I grumped, glancing at the digital clock on the dashboard which reads 18:54. 7 o'clock's way too early. I whined. It does seem very early, she agreed. But rules are rules, and it'll be 8 o'clock when you're 13, she told me. And it'll still be 8 o'clock when I'm 15. Well, it's better than burning the candle at both ends, she said. Some of the boys at uni stay out partying till the early hours and can barely stay awake in their lectures. It's stupid really because they're wasting their education. Being petticoated means you'll get the most out of yours, she told me. Mum has said the same time after time after time. It's like a mantra being drummed into me. We're back, Mummy, my sister hollered as we entered our home. Oh good. I've warmed some plates, Mum replied. And the amazing Mr. Blunden is about to start, she added. Oh, I love that film, my sister gushed. It's a new version. Not the old one, Mum warned her. I'd never heard of it, but it ticked the Christmas ghost story box. We chomped through the KFC, sat in front of the TV. Can we open a present after supper, Mummy? My sister asked. Of course. Mum smiled. But only a small one, she added. Once we'd had our fill, my sister offered to clear the plates and cutlery, again addressing her as Mummy. I offered to help but avoided the infantile address. It's weird you saying Mummy all the time, I said as I put the KFC bags in the kitchen bin. We'll get used to it, she smiled. We returned to the living room and on the coffee table was 3 small gifts. This one's for you, my sister said. It's a small gift, very small, so small in fact that I can only think that it might be some lipstick. No, it's not lipstick. Mum smiled as I began to peel off the wrapping. I discarded the paper and carefully opened a tiny cardboard box. A key? I quizzed. A door key. Mum smiled. Which room do you think it might be for? She asked. I've no idea, I replied. The only doors that have locks are the front door, the back door and the doors in the attic. I thought. And the garage and shed, I said. Well, it's not for the garage and it's not for the shed, Mum replied. And the front and back doors have yell locks, my sister added. So let's have a look upstairs, shall we? My sister and mother followed me up to the attic. The stairs, predictably, creaked underfoot. First I tried the door to the larger attic room, but the key didn't fit. But it slotted straight into the lock of the small box room which, last time I saw it, was packed full of all the things we didn't want yet hadn't got rid of, appliance boxes, suitcases, and old dining chairs. I turned the key and pulled the door open. I gasped and froze. The small room has been cleared out and thoroughly cleaned. A wood-framed single bed fills a third of the available floor space. On it is a lilac duvet set with a butterfly pattern in pink, purple and blue, and perched on the pillow is my old cuddly Woody toy, along with Jessie the cowgirl and Bo Peep, both of which belong to my sister. A wooden bedside cabinet with heart-shaped handles fits between the bed and the wall. On the floor beside the bed is a Hello Kitty rug, but other than that, the floorboards are bare. Is this my bedroom now? I eventually managed to croak. Just until we get your room redecorated, Mum told me, prompting me to step inside. The floor creaks under every step and even when standing totally still, they continue to creak and squeak beneath me. At the foot of the bed is a dressing table with an ornate oval mirror and an old wooden chair facing it. Next to that, a chest of drawers on which a small fluffy pink Christmas tree is perched beside my Lego Hogwarts castle. An empty clothes rail stands beside the door and above that, some bookshelves containing my books and games, some of them anyway. My sister said it was compact and bijou. I didn't know what that meant. Small and cozy, she told me. Do you like it? Mum asked. At least it's not been painted pink, I replied, glancing around the plain white walls and painted white furniture, although the neutral palette made the pale pink drawer handles and other pastel and pink details stand out all the more. Mum told that there's plenty of clothes in the big chest of drawers and my nightwear is stowed in the small bedside cabinet. Knickers in the top, nighties and gym jams in the middle, and nappies in the bottom drawer, she added. Do I have to wear one now? I gulped. No, you can watch your film first, Mum told me. Okay, I timidly said. My sister suggested we return downstairs since the movie will have already started. These floorboards need sorting out, she said as every step creaked loudly underfoot. They're fine as they are, Mum said. And with Michael's new room being directly above my room, I'll be able to hear if he gets out of bed in the middle of the night, she added. When are you gonna decorate my room? I asked as we passed by my proper bedroom. We'll get Christmas and New Year out of the way first, Mum told me. I've been so busy getting the box room ready I haven't even thought about paint and wallpaper for your big room yet. I wasn't expecting any surprises this Christmas, but a new bedroom was a big surprise, doubly so since it's so very small. The fact that it's not that girly came as a small consolation, but the Hello Kitty rug and 2 of my sister's old cuddly toys were things that a 12-year-old boy could really do without. It must be the umpteenth time that I've watched Home Alone, and there were moments that I got so engrossed in the action that completely forgot about my new room and impending new life, but only for a moment before the reality came flooding back to me. Your nappies are in the bottom drawer. Those words seemed to echo inside my skull, over and over. When the film finally ended, Mum wasted no time in telling me to say goodnight to my sister, before taking me upstairs. I loitered nervously as she removed a pair of knickers from the top drawer of my bedside cabinet. They are big and white and very frilly. Do you want a nightie or pajamas? She asked. Pajamas. I timidly replied. She placed a neatly folded set on the bed, alongside the knickers. They're white and looked girly, with lace and frills and baby pink piping. From the bottom drawer she removed a folded nappy, and a pair of rubber knickers, which she handed to me. We'll get this on in the bathroom, she told me. The stairs creaked noisily as we descended to the landing. She told me not to look so frightened. I'm not going to put you in it like a baby, she said. It's big boy's nappy that you put on yourself, she informed me. But I need to show you what to do, she added, removing a tub of cream from the bathroom cupboard. She told me to have a wee and insisted I sit because petticoated boys are expected to sit whenever they use the toilet. Like a girl. I moaned. Exactly like a girl, she said. She told me to undress and I told her it was embarrassing doing so in front of her. You've nothing I haven't seen before, and once you know what to do you'll be allowed to get ready for bed on your own. Okay. I frowned and nodded. She opened the tub and told me what to do with the nappy rash cream, then I washed my hands, dried them and pulled on the nappy, sniffling as I did so. She apologized for the experience being so humbling for me, but assured me that it will get easier after a few weeks when I'll be more accustomed. Rubbers next, she said. I pulled those on and the elastic bit into the tops of my legs and waist. They're supposed to be snug but they're certainly not too tight, she told me after checking. Right, hands, face and teeth, she told me. I'll be up in your room. I was glad to be on my own and felt thankful that my little sniffle didn't turn into full-on tears. After brushing my teeth, I carefully opened the bathroom door and made sure my sister wasn't anywhere near the landing, before trotting across the carpet and up the creaky wooden stairs. Mum smiled as I entered. The pajamas were laid out waiting on my bed, along with the big white knickers. She handed them to me. Why do I have to wear those if I'm wearing pajamas? I asked. They're called overknickers, to wear on top of a nappy, she said. I huffed and pulled on the overknickers and Mum showed me the drawstrings, one on each leg and another on the waist, each threaded through a small metal heart-shaped toggle. These need to be snug but not too tight, she told me. Otherwise they'll be uncomfortable, she said. That's right, she smiled. Now these metal toggles have a special magnetic lock which only I can undo, so don't bother trying to take your nappy off. It stays on until morning, she told me. I began to silently panic. And the drawstrings are made from Kevlar which even a pair of scissors won't cut through, she added. So I'm locked in it? I gasped. Just until morning, she told me. But I don't have to be locked into it, Mum. That's cruel. Unless you were planning on taking it off the moment my back's turned, it makes no difference. Mum replied. And it's Mummy from now on, remember. I hung my head, sulked and said you're treating me like a baby. I'm not treating you like a baby, she insisted. And we've discussed this plenty of times before, she said. The problem with boys your age is you want to grow up too quickly, and putting you back in nappies is to remind you that you're still very much a child, she told me. And it's just for bedtime, providing you're good, she said. Now Jim Jam's on and into bed, she smiled. And once you're in bed you must stay in bed, she instructed as I pulled on the pajamas. No getting out and creeping about, if you need to wee, you've got your nappy, she informed me as I climbed into bed. I'm right below you remember so I'll hear if you do get out of bed. Okay. I mumbled. Now give Mummy a hug, she told me, opening her arms. Night-night, I said, pausing, gulping and adding, "Mummy. Good boy. Night-night." She stood and glanced around my room. She smiled at me one last time before shutting the door and turning off the light. The switch is on the outside, then locking the door. I gulped and cast my eyes around the darkened room. It's late even for me and I'm tired. I planted my head on the pillow and drifted almost immediately to sleep. I woke and it was still dark outside, so other than it being before around 8 a.m., I wasn't sure of the actual time. My eyes were well adjusted to the darkness and for a moment, I wondered where I was until I remembered that I'd slept in the small box room in the attic. I cast my gaze to the dressing table with its overtly feminine ornate oval mirror. How many boys have a dressing table? I wondered as my eyes shifted to the chest of drawers on which my Lego Hogwarts castle is displayed, alongside the fluffy pink Christmas tree. I sigh and turn on my side and spy the horribly cute rug on the floor. I turned over to see the cuddly Bo Peep, Daisy and Woody sitting next to my pillow. I didn't mind having Jessie present, but Bo Peep is an overtly girly doll who sits grinning at me, as if amused by my predicament. My hand finds the bulk of my nappy beneath my girly pajamas, and despite having not used it, I can't wait to get out of it. Knowing how creaky the floorboards are, I daren't step out of bed, so lay awake, patiently waiting for Mum to unlock the door. Oh, and I have to start calling her Mummy. I muttered to myself, sighing at how infantile that's going to make me feel each and every time I say it. I suppose an hour passed before the creaky attic stairs alerted me. The box room light turned on before the door was unlocked and the round bag on the back of the door was revealed to me. "Happy Christmas," my sister beamed as she entered my room. "Did you sleep well?" she asked, perching on the edge of my bed. I nodded, frowned, and pulled the duvet up to hide the frilly details of my pajamas. "How's your nappy?" she asked me. I blushed instantly. "Mummy said you've got to go and tell her if you're wet," she told me. "I'm not," I blurted. "Okay, let's go for breakfast," she grinned, tugging at my duvet. "Love your Jim Jams. They're horrid." "No, they're not. They're my old ones," she smiled. "Come on, it's Christmas Day," she beamed. "Yeah, and all I'm gonna get is loads of girl stuff." "Nothing you wanted but everything you expected," she replied. I frowned and nodded. "Aren't you gonna wish me a happy Christmas?" "Sorry, happy Christmas," I said. She smiled and opened her arms. We hugged for a moment and I finally got out of bed. "Was this your rug too?" I asked, planting my feet on the girly Hello Kitty rug. She nodded. The floor creaked, the attic stairs more so. "Good morning," Mum chirped. "And happy Christmas." "Happy Christmas, Mummy," I glumly muttered. "How's your nappy?" she asked, glaring at my bulbous hips. "I haven't used it," I defensively retorted. "It doesn't matter one way or the other," Mum replied. "Do you want a glass of orange juice, milk, or a cup of tea?" she asked, directing the question to both me and my sister. "Could I have tea please, Mummy?" my sister replied. "Tea please, Mummy," I said, before asking when I could get dressed. "After breakfast," she said, cracking a load of eggs into a pan. Ooh. We enjoyed scrambled eggs with croissants and brittle bacon before Mum took me up the bathroom and released the drawstrings on my overknickers using a special magnet. "Right, overknickers off, nappy in the bin and you in the shower," she said, telling me to make sure I rinse off all the cream and wear a shower cap to keep my hair dry. "I'll fetch you some normal knickers and you can put your pajamas back on." I couldn't see my usual shower gel, just the floral scented stuff my mum uses. And the only shower cap is Mum's and that's got flowers on it too. At least the normal knickers she fetched me were plain white with a thin lacy trim, no frills or flowers and only one tiny bow on the front, unlike my pajamas which have frilled lacy cuffs around the ankles and sleeves, a lace-trimmed collar, a frilly yoke and baby pink piping. "Are you warm enough or do you want a vest on too?" she asked. Knowing it'd be a girl's vest, I said I'd be okay. Mum raised an expectant eyebrow. "Mummy," I glumly added. Can I put my slippers on? I asked, glancing down at my bare feet. Well, technically you haven't got any slippers, but who knows what's under the tree, she gleefully replied. Come on. We went to the lounge and my sister patted the seat beside her. I sat and she hugged me. You smell nice, she told me. I had to use Mum's shower. I mean, Mummy's shower gel. I replied. Well, it smells much better than that Link stuff you used to use, she told me. Here. I think you should open this one first. Mum said. Thank you. I replied, adding Mummy, as I took it from her. I read the gift tag, which predictably was addressed to me, and from Mummy. It's wrapped in girly pink paper, which I slowly peeled apart to reveal a pair of pink and white slipper socks with rubberized paw prints on the sole for grip. And so it began, countless gifts in pink wrapping, most from Mummy, many of which I'd already seen when she'd left them laying around in the kitchen, such as the reindeer jumper and Gilry hat and Gov's set. I also have a few girly gifts from my sister, plus aunts and uncles, my grandparents and family friends. Each was as girly as the last, if not, more so. I had several dresses, some skirts, blouses, t-shirts and jumpers, tights, socks, outerwear, underwear, a hat, scarf and glove set, nighties, toiletries and a makeup set which my sister said she'd show me how to use later on. I got some shoes, with heels, and some more, without. Some ankle boots with fur lining and a concealed wedge, which are possibly one of the least girly gifts I received, and I got some bootcut jeans too, with butterflies and flowers embroidered on the back of one leg. I also got some denim shorts, but not the sort that boys wear. They're short ones which my sister said would look really cool with thick black tights, trainers, and a casual hoodie. I guess they would, on a proper girl. My casual hoodie is pink with an Adidas logo on the back in pale blue, and my trainers are pale blue with sparkly lilac stripes on the sides. I also got 2 handbags, one, a casual denim one that's more of a messenger bag style, and the other, a small shiny satin one for best. It could have been worse because, as I understand it, most petticoated boys have to wear really prissy dresses all the time, whereas most of my new clothes are, all things considered, relatively normal. I guess if I had to choose a favorite gift, it would have to be the one that Peter's sister Helen gave me. There's no denying that it's a girl's t-shirt, but I could appreciate the sentiment. I recalled Helen's words when she gave it to me, I don't mind if you don't like it, followed by I hope you do like it, and I kind of do. So, Mum asked. Do you want to get dressed? I guess. I reluctantly said. She let me choose, providing I wore one of my new dresses, so I chose the most sedate, a dark red frock with a plain crew neck and no sleeves. I wore it for the rest of the day over a white blouse and white tights, with a pair of shiny black Mary Janes strapped to my feet. If anything, I thought I'd be overwhelmed with embarrassment wearing my first ever dress, but if anything, it was a rather mundane experience, helped by the fact that no one outside of our immediate family would be visiting on Christmas Day. We watched TV and enjoyed a hearty Christmas dinner followed by pear and ginger trifle. I'll do the washing up, Mummy, my sister said, but Mum insisted on doing it herself, instead suggesting that my sister and I have a play with my new makeup set. Oh yes, I'd forgotten about that. We went up to my room with my new clothes bundled in our arms. Careful in the stairs in your new heels, my sister advised. I'm okay, I said. You're doing really well, she told me. They're not that hard, I replied. It took me ages to get used to heel when I was your age. You were probably higher than these though. No, they were about the same, she claimed. Where did all those come from? I blurted, seeing a load of clothes hanging from the formerly empty clothes rail in my bedroom. Just a few of my old things that should fit you, my sister told me. Those coupled with the clothes I was given as Christmas gifts meant I had loads of girls' clothes. We hung my gifted clothes on hangers and put some in the drawers, which also had more of my sister's hand-me-downs in them. My clothes rail was now 2/3 full. My sister said I had some nice things. And they're not all really girly, she said, sliding the hangers from one side to the other. I used to love this one, she said, drawing my attention to a pale floral frock which she unhooked and put at the end of the rail. This one's pretty too, she said, admiring one of my new dresses, and putting that on the end of the rail. Why are you moving them? I asked, not that I had any issue. I was just wondering. I'm putting all your Sunday dresses together, she told me. What exactly is a Sunday dress? Something nice and conservative, the sort of thing you'd wear for church on Sunday. I don't have to go to church, do I? I feared. No, Michael, we're still atheists. She smiled. But you will wear one on Sundays. Every Sunday? I asked. She smiled and nodded and sat me at my dressing table, laying out all the various items and naming each in turn: eyeshadow, eyeliner, mascara, foundation, and blush and lipsticks. What's the point of wearing makeup? I moaned. To look pretty, she told me. And before you say you don't want to look pretty, you've got lots of pretty new clothes to live up to and you don't want to look like a boy in a dress, do you? But I will be a boy in a dress, I sighed, adding, or a skirt or whatever. The point of being petticoated is so you get lots of girl time, and that means doing lots of girl things as much as it means wearing girls' clothes, my sister explained. I know it all probably seems quite boring now, but it's more than boring, it's embarrassing. I interjected. Look at me, and even this isn't so bad compared to what I have to wear at bedtime. All my friends would freak if they knew I had to wear a nappy and rubbers and frilly over knickers. Don't worry about your nappies. Your friends don't need to know about those, and Mummy's right, you will be asleep most of the time you're wearing them. I know, but... Here, start with this, she said, handing me a flat round tin. It's called foundation. What do I do with it? Well, first, you put a hairband on to hold your fringe back, she said, opening a small shallow drawer on my dressing table, to reveal a variety of hair accessories. Then you apply a very thin dusting of powder all over your face. I followed her instructions and saw my familiar face become an unblemished even tone all over, from ear to ear and hairline to chin. My sister said she'd do my eye makeup for me but explained every step, from blending 2 shades of eyeshadow, applying my eyeliner and tidying the line with a cotton bud, and finally, applying my mascara. You're gonna freak when you see this, she said, grinning. Why, does it look bad? No, it looks great, but I remember when I first saw myself with my eyes made up and it just looked so different, she told me. Now make sure you don't touch them. No rubbing or itching or you'll ruin it. Can I look? I asked. She nodded. Blimey, I see what you mean. I exclaimed. That doesn't look at all like me. Well, it does, it's just you with makeup on, she smiled. Do you want to do your own lippy? Not really, but... I replied, taking the unlidded lipstick from her. She told me to apply it to the bottom lip only, then to roll my lips together, which puts a coat on my top lip. And that's it? I asked. She nodded. Is that okay? I asked, looking at my reflection after rolling my lips together. Perfect, she smiled. Should I take this off now? I asked, referring to the headband. She nodded. My fringe flopped onto my forehead and I looked in the mirror. My sister asked my thoughts. Well, I look weird, but I suppose at least now I look like I belong in this dress. I said, casting my eyes over my dark red dress, prissy white blouse and white woolly tights. My heart began to race as we descended the stairs. I just knew Mum was going to shower me with compliments, saying how lovely I look and blah blah blah. And she did. We watched the Queen's speech, which as usual, bored me senseless and made 5 minutes feel like an hour. Then with an average Christmas movie on the TV, we played Trivial Pursuit, and for a while, I actually forgot I was spending my first day as a petticoated boy, but not for long. As the time neared 6:00 p.m, Mummy reminded me that it'll soon be time for my bedtime bath and that bedtime is at 7:00 sharp. Ooh, it seems so early. I moaned. I know, but you'll soon get used to your new routine. Mummy replied. And boys your age need all the sleep they can get, she added. But I didn't go to bed at 7 o'clock when I was 11 years old. I pointed out. No, but had you been petticoated when you were 11, you would have done. Mummy informed me. And when you're 13 you can stay up till 8 o'clock, my sister added. Isn't that right, Mummy? It is. Mum replied, before suggesting she show me how to take my makeup off whilst she runs my bedtime bath. I hate these floorboards, I said as we entered the box room in the creaked underfoot. Well, Mummy needs to know that you're in bed after bedtime, my sister replied. So creaky as they are, they do serve a purpose, she added. And when you've adapted to petticoating you'll be able to have your old bedroom again, she told me. When's that going to be? I asked as I sat in front of my dressing table mirror. God, I look weird. I sighed as I observed my well-defined doll-like eyes, porcelain chin, and pale pink lips. You don't look weird, you just look lovely, she told me. And I suppose you'll know when you've adapted because you'll look at yourself with makeup on and won't feel weird, she reckoned. I donned the stretchy fabric headband to hold my fringe off my forehead and from a drawer in my dresser, removed a pack of makeup wipes, some baby oil, cotton buds and cotton wool balls. The wipes removed my foundation and lippy, the balls removed my eyeshadow and the cotton buds swept away my eyeliner, leaving my face blank and looking very, very bland. Much to my embarrassment, my sister helped me undress right down to my knickers and training bra, and wearing just those, she sent me to the bathroom where Mum was waiting. Did you bring a nappy and some rubbers? She asked. I grimaced and shook my head, before trotting back to my room in the attic in my girly underwear to fetch a nappy and a pair of rubber knickers. I can't imagine ever getting used to this, it's one layer of humiliation on top of another, and when Mummy actually began to bathe me, it was even more humiliating. I need to make sure you're clean, she said as she squeezed a big pink sponge over my head, rinsing out the shampoo. And you need to condition your hair so it's nice and soft and shiny in the morning, she added. After my bath, Mum dried me with a big soft towel and covered me in talcum powder. She handed me the tub of nappy rash cream and told me to make sure I apply it properly, otherwise you'll get nappy rash, which means you'll need a nappy in the day until it's cleared up, she warned. I'll be in your room, she said, leaving me to don my nappy on my own. Once again, I cautiously poked my head out of the bathroom door to check the landing was clear before quickly trotting up to my room. Mum smiled at me as I entered. On my bed lay a pair of frilly white cotton over knickers and a pale blue nightie with frilly white trim. I frowned at them, but didn't complain. Once ready for bed, Mum asked me to choose a dress to wear tomorrow. Now? I asked. It's as good a time as any, she said. And you've still got a few minutes before bedtime, she added. Can I wear my jeans and the t-shirt Helen gave me? It's Sunday tomorrow, so you have to wear a Sunday dress, she told me. I can choose one if you prefer. I looked at the selection, 5 or 6 in total and all too girly for comfort. Okay, I said. I think this one. Mum said, selecting the pale blue one. It used to be your sister's. I know. I mournfully replied as she hung it from the back of my bedroom door. Mummy told me that when I wear a blue dress, that I need blue knickers, a blue training bra and a blue vest. Okay. I got into bed. We hugged and Mummy left me alone, locking the door and turning the light out. I huffed and sighed, feeling not the least bit sleepy. I lay awake for hours and wet myself long before I drifted off to sleep. On Boxing Day morning I discovered that my nappies turn pink when wet, which means Mummy will always know if I've used it or not. She let me in shower before breakfast and told me that it doesn't matter if I needed my nappy or not. It's there just in case and it's better to wet your nappy than your bed, she told me, before sending me to my room to dress. Matching knickers and training bra, remember, and don't forget to put a vest on, she said. Okay. I moaned. My sister had showed me how to put a bra on properly, but it was still really fiddly. The dress Mum chose was quite stretchy, so pulled on quite easily. I wasn't sure if I should wear tights or socks or which shoes, so I went downstairs barefoot. Mummy said I looked lovely and my sister said it was so nice to see her old dress getting some use again. "We'll do your makeup after breakfast," she added. "Then we'll go to Granny's," Mum said. "I can't go to Granny's like this," I gasped. "We always go to Granny's on Boxing Day," Mum reminded me. "She knows you've been petticoated and she knows you'll be wearing a dress, and Auntie Claire and Uncle Paul and your cousins will be there too, and they know you've been petticoated too," she informed me. A panic began to well up inside me. Being dressed like a girl yesterday wasn't so bad because it was just my mum and my sister, 2 cousins plus my uncle and aunt and my grandmother. Is too many people too soon, but there was no getting out of it. After breakfast, I donned a pair of thin nude tights and my flat ballet-style shoes, and once again, my sister helped me with my makeup. This time I did my eyeshadow myself, but she did my eyeliner and mascara for me. I wore a blue Alice band in my hair and Mummy told me that I needed my little satin handbag. "What should I put in it?" I asked. "Your lipstick," my sister said. "And a clean pair of knickers, a nappy, rubbers, and over knickers," my mother added. "What? Why?" I exclaimed. "Because petticoated boys always carry clean knickers and a nappy, just in case," Mum relied. "Just in case of what?" I whined. "Just in case we get stranded and have to stay overnight somewhere," Mum told me. "You'd need a nappy for bed and clean knickers in the morning," she said. "Okay." I frowned. "And the other reason is if you misbehave," she added. "Your knickers are a privilege, not a right, and if can't behave yourself you'll be put in a nappy and everybody will know about it." My jaw dropped. I felt so self-conscious knowing there was a nappy inside my handbag. In fact, that worried more than my dress as we exited the house. The December air nibbled through my thin tights as we walked to Mum's car, but my woolly dress coat felt nice and warm, although to look at, it's clearly a girl's coat despite being navy blue. My aunt, uncle, and cousins were already at our grandmother's house when we arrived, and to be honest, they didn't seem at all fazed that I was dressed like a girl. Granny said she didn't think my mom was going to go through with petticoating me, after delaying it from my birthday, but added that she was glad she had. My mother always said that little boys are best behaved when dressed as girls, she told me, claiming that her brothers each had a Sunday dress when they were boys. My cousin Samantha, aged 14, said she liked my dress and Auntie Claire recognized it as one of my sister's hand-me-downs. Little Lottie is only 5 and probably too young to realize that there's anything odd about a boy in a dress, and Uncle Paul didn't comment on my attire at all, but did say I'd grown since he last saw me, and asked how I was getting at school. All in all, they just pretended it was normal that I was dressed like a girl, and after a short while, I kind of felt normal too. The next day I wore more casual clothes, a trendy canvas skirt that I'd got for Christmas, with black tights and my new trainers, plus a peach cardigan over a plain pink long-sleeve t-shirt. Mummy put some sparkly slides in my hair which looked a bit girly, but I guess that's to be expected now I'm a petticoated boy. My sister continued teaching me to apply my makeup, and although I wasn't very good at it, I was doing my own eyeliner and mascara, as well as eyeshadow, foundation, and lipstick. "Practice makes perfect," my sister told me, and I suppose it does. By New Year's Eve, I began to feel like I'd got used to dressing in girls' clothes every day, but I hadn't got used to my bedtime routine. It was by far the most humbling aspect of being a petticoated boy. If I didn't wet myself before falling asleep, I'd wake in the middle of night, desperate for the toilet, and hang on for as long as possible before wetting myself. It's horrible, but as Mummy says, it's better to wet my nappy than my bed. Mummy took me shopping on New Year's Day for some new school clothes and let me wear my new jeans for the first time. When she said I could wear long pants for school, I figured she meant the pants I'd always worn, boys' pants. But no. She bought me several pairs of girls' school pants which have their fastening on the side and a bow on the front, plus a school skirt to wear whilst doing my homework, a pack of navy blue school tights, some white pelerine knee socks, and a new pair of school shoes which, whilst being girls' shoes, are lace-ups so they're not that girly at glance. We returned to school on the 3rd and I was so embarrassed walking to school on the first day of term wearing my navy blue dress coat and girls' trousers over a pair of white knitted knee socks. I figured the best thing to do was come clean, so when anybody asked why I was wearing a girl's coat or girl's socks, or if anyone asked what I got for Christmas, I'd shrug and tell them I've been petticoated. They didn't know whether to laugh or pity me, and I expect behind my back, my classmates did both. No one teased or picked on me, and my form teacher kept me back after the afternoon registration and asked if I was getting on okay, to which I'd apathetically reply, "I guess, miss." "Do you think it's wise telling everyone that you've been petticoated?" she asked. "Would you rather I lie, miss?" I smugly asked. Mummy asked how my first day back had been and seemed surprised when I told her how my classmates didn't know how to react when I told them that I'd been petticoated. "Most boys try to keep it secret," she said. "What's the point of that, Mummy?" I retorted. "There's no lie I can think of to justify why I'm wearing a girl's coat, trousers, and socks," I said. "True." Mum frowned. "Have you got any homework?" "Just an English assignment," I told her. "Well, go and put your school skirt on. You can do it at the table in the kitchen," she told me. "And bring that white Alice band down with you," she hollered as I left for my room. I changed out of my girly school pants and pulled the skirt on. It's short, pleated, and charcoal grey, and coupled with my pelerine knee socks, I look every bit the schoolgirl. I put the Alice band in my hair and checked my reflection before returning downstairs. Mum said I looked lovely before asking what my English assignment was. 500 words describing what I did over the Christmas holidays. I replied. "Oh." Mum said, seeming somewhat abashed.
Pill for babyhood. Jane was a sophomore at Stanford. She was just starting the year. She had had a great first year and was looking forward to this one. Jane was in a waiting room. She and her best friend Lucy had volunteered as test subjects for a new weight loss pill for girls that the college was developing. Nobody would consider Jane or Lucy fat, but Jane wouldn't mind losing a bit of weight. This was perfect. Jane would lose her freshman 15 without doing any work, and she would get paid, which she needed. Stanford was expensive. Jane was given a physical. She had passed and went into another room. She met up with Lucy again. They sat and chatted. People slowly came in after they were done with their physicals. A woman, maybe 25, stood behind a podium on the stage at the front of the room. "You are all of the eligible subjects for this test." There were maybe 75 people in the room. "I'm here to instruct you on how to use this pill. You need to take it 3 times a day, once right after each meal. Drink a lot of water all day. This pill has passed all the tests so far. After this we will be able to sell it with a prescription. The authorized side effects are headaches, dizziness, dehydration, and increased urination. Please write down all of the effects. We will meet again in 2 days to check in. If you have any issues, go to the college hospital. Hopefully no one will. The animals were all fine and you have each been checked to make sure you are good and healthy test subjects." This was easier than Jane thought. Take a pill with every meal and write down what happens. The next morning Jane woke up. She woke up earlier than usual. She never ate breakfast, but decided she should for the study. They did say to take 3 a day, 1 with each meal. She went out the door apologizing to her roommate Kathy. Jane didn't mean to wake her up, but she was just a light sleeper. Jane bought breakfast and ate it alone. When she was finished, she went to a vending machine and bought a bottle of water and swallowed a pill. It was about 8:30. She had a lecture at 9. She took her time as she slowly headed for class. It was 11 o'clock. Jane sat listening to the professor lecture. She usually got out around 11:30 or 11:45. Jane had felt completely fine when all of a sudden she really needed to pee. She hadn't noticed it at all less than a minute ago, but now she had to pee pretty bad. She knew that this wasn't going to be a very comfortable half hour. It was hard to pay attention because of the discomfort of her bladder. Her desperation increased rapidly. It went from uncomfortable to agonizing. Jane checked her phone to see how much time she had. It had only been 4 minutes. She shifted, trying to get comfortable. She was determined not to leave the lecture. It was hard for her not to look desperate. She wondered if she could even hold it until the end. She had never had to go this bad. She was deciding if she should get up and walk out. Then she had a momentary lapse of control. She felt warmth spread through her panties. That had never happened to her before. Her face was bright red and horrified. There was a small, but not noticeable patch on her jeans. But her underwear was pretty wet. Jane walked out as casually as she could, but once outside she grabbed her crotch and ran for the bathroom. She walked briskly towards the bathroom, each step shaking her bladder. Jane could feel it coming. She had to stop walking to try and control herself. She mostly succeeded. A small amount of pee escaped into her pants. The patch on her crotch was now halfway down her thigh. She kept walking. Even if she could make it, it was obvious what she did. The bathroom was in sight, but Jane couldn't make it. Her bladder let loose. She stood still while her pee rushed out through her jeans. When she finished peeing, her pants were thoroughly soaked and Jane was standing in the puddle that she had made. Jane looked straight down the whole way back to her dorm. She hoped no one would see her face and recognize her. She had never peed her pants before. Jane was pretty embarrassed, but she wasn't really ashamed. She knew that it was all the pill's fault. Jane knew one of the side effects was increased urination, but she never would have guessed it was that bad. She had gone from not needing to use the restroom to having an accident in less than 10 minutes. Jane got back to her dorm. She took her wet jeans and panties into the shower with her to wash them off so they didn't smell like pee. Jane continued her shower. She took a long time. She needed to be alone. Soon she felt the need to pee again. It couldn't have been more than 45 minutes ago that she had wet her pants. She let out her pee in the shower. Jane got out and dried off. She was extremely thirsty. She drank a glass of water. She was still thirsty and she drank 2 more. Jane didn't know what to do. Going to her later lecture was out of the question. She knew she was going to have to pee a lot today. Jane decided to discontinue the experiment and just stay in her dorm until it wore off. But before she decided, Jane thought she should call Lucy. They almost always ate lunch together, but Jane didn't want to go anywhere outside today. Plus, Lucy was probably in the same boat. The phone rang twice, then Lucy answered. "Hi, Jane." "Hey Lucy, I can't go to lunch today. That pill is making me have some, bathroom problems." Lucy giggled. "You too? I think I can help you. Are you at your dorm?" "YA. K, I'll be over there soon." Lucy hung up. Jane was happy that Lucy was coming over. Jane just didn't want to be away from a bathroom today. Jane boiled some water to make ramen. Lucy knocked on the door and Jane answered it. "Hi," Lucy said cheerfully and hugged Jane tightly. Jane could feel something like a lump in Lucy's pants that wasn't usually there. "Take that water off the stove, we're going out." Jane gave Lucy a questioning look. "I think I'll stay here." "No, it's fine, just go put one of these on." Lucy handed Jane an adult diaper. "And can I get some water?" "YA?" Jane looked really confused. Wearing a diaper to her was just so humiliating. Knowing her condition, she would probably have to use them too. On the other hand, she wanted to go out, they were also necessary, and she knew it was just temporary. I talked to another one of the girls in the study. She said just about everyone is wearing them. It's probably a good idea. Jane took it and went into the bathroom. Jane held it in her hands and looked at it. It was like a baby diaper, but giant. She pulled it a little to see if it stretched. She felt the soft inside, thinking about how it was for adults like her to pee into. Jane took down her pants. She was wondering how much of her dignity would be sacrificed by putting it on. But before she put it on, she decided to use the bathroom. Jane sat on the toilet and peed way more than she thought she would. She didn't need to go at all. Jane pulled on the diaper. She looked at herself in the mirror. Not as bad as she thought. She looked like a cute baby, but again giant. Jane pulled her jeans up, but could not even zip up the zipper. She looked in the mirror. It was obvious she was wearing a diaper. She came out without her pants on. Lucy giggled, "You look so cute." Jane looked back with a serious face. "I know." Then they both laughed. Jane picked out a knee-length skirt and put it on. "Okay, I'm ready." Jane and Lucy were walking to the cafeteria. "So did you piss your pants?" Lucy asked. I did actually." "Oh, do tell me the story." So I was almost done with my lecture this morning when all of a sudden I needed to pee pretty bad. I was like, why didn't I notice? Then I thought I could hold it until the end of the lecture, but it got worse really bad. I was still trying to hold it when I accidentally peed a little. Then I knew I needed to get out. So I left and was walking towards the bathroom. I peed myself a little bit more, but I was almost there. Then I just completely let it out in my pants. What about you? Me too, like a little girl. I was also in a lecture, but as soon as I had to go I left, like near the beginning, so I went to the bathroom. Then I couldn't go back to the lecture, so I went into the park. Then even though I just peed, I had to go again. I started walking back, but I knew I wasn't going to make it, so I started running, with my hand on my crotch, but then I started peeing while I was still running. I took a few steps and then I had to let it all out. They picked up food and went outside to eat it on a table. Jane sat down, but Lucy didn't. I have to pee bad. She kept shifting feet. The bathroom is like right there. No, I don't think I can make it. Lucy closed her eyes and stood still. Phew, that felt good. Lucy sat down. Jane felt embarrassed for Lucy, even though Lucy didn't seem embarrassed at all. She just took a piss in her diaper. After they finished eating, Lucy took another pill. You're still going to continue? It'll still make us lose weight. Jane didn't want to continue but felt she had to if Lucy did it. I guess I'll continue. Can I have one of yours? Mine are at my dorm. Sure. Lucy gave Jane a pill, and she took it. I guess if I'm continuing I should buy my own diapers. I'll go too. They first went to Jane's dorm to grab money and an empty backpack. Lucy changed her diaper and brought the wet one to throw away outside. They grabbed their bikes and started riding them to the drugstore. It was harder to ride a bike in a skirt than normal. It was also harder with a diaper on. It was a bit of a ride, and almost immediately Jane felt her bladder filling up. Soon it was so uncomfortable that it was distracting. Jane nearly hit the curb. She swerved away, and accidentally started peeing. She decided not to stop it right away. She felt the diaper absorb her pee. She had never felt anything like it. She stopped peeing. It wasn't enough, soon she had to pee even worse than before. Jane could feel it coming, she was about to lose control. Lucy, stop! Jane shouted. Jane stopped and hopped off her bike. She prepared to let out her pee when she realized she was already going. She completely emptied her bladder. Her crotch felt a lot heavier. It was warm to the touch. They kept biking and arrived at the drugstore. Jane tried not to think about what had just happened. Jane and Lucy went to the aisle with the adult diapers and Lucy told Jane which she wanted. They also picked up some bottles of water. Both girls were extremely thirsty. They went to the cashier and bought the items. Jane opened her new box and changed her diaper in the bathroom. Her wet diaper was much heavier than she imagined. She used the toilet because she knew she would need to go soon. She slid on her new diaper and it felt so good. Later that night when Jane was home in her dorm for the night, she changed into her big girl panties. She hadn't wet the diaper that she put on at the drugstore. Jane and Lucy had hung out in the library close to the bathrooms the whole day. Jane was still making frequent bathroom trips and drinking tons of water. Both her and Lucy took their pills with dinner. Jane went to sleep. She thought about how she was going to go to her lectures tomorrow. She would be fine for the first one if she took the pill just before, but after that she would need to pee every half an hour or so. She could go once in her diaper, but then she would need to go change. Jane drifted off to sleep. She was sure it would all work out. Jane was in her first lecture and was dying for a pee. She had forgotten to wear a diaper. She couldn't wait until the end of the lecture, so she left. She got to the bathroom, but it was locked. She knew where there was another, so she ran there with her hands on her crotch, but that one was locked too. Jane decided to run back to her dorm. Halfway there she accidentally let a little out. She kept walking. At her front door she knew she couldn't wait any longer. Jane woke up. Her bladder was extremely full. She reached inside her PJs and touched the front of her panties. Just as she thought, she had just peed a little, just like in her dream. Jane tried to sit up, but the act squeezed more pee out of her body. She laid down on her back. She was definitely on the verge of wetting herself. The bathroom was only 10 steps away. Jane rolled off her bed. She was leaking a bit more with every motion. She took one step slowly. Holding her crotch for dear life, she took another step. Jane was almost halfway there. She was taking forever, but one quick motion would make her lose control. Kathy turned on her light, completely startling Jane. Jane saw Kathy looking at her with Thin's disgusted face. Jane knew it, she was peeing herself. Jane knew she should have slept in a diaper. What if it made her wet the bed, or do something like this? Kathy didn't say anything though. She just turned the light off. When Jane was finished, she grabbed a diaper and changed into it. She also drank a ton of water. It was also only 1 o'clock, this could easily happen again tonight. Jane went back to sleep. Jane woke up at a normal time, needing to pee, not as bad as last night, but still pretty bad. Jane got out of bed, she grabbed some clothes and was about to get into the bathroom when Kathy said, "Are you not telling me something?" Jane looked down. She hadn't worn anything over her diaper. Even worse, her diaper was wet. She must have wet the bed. This isn't usual. It's only cause of that weight loss pill I'm helping test. It has some bad side effects. Well, don't make any more messes. And she motioned to the pee stain on the carpet. That was one thing Jane liked about Kathy, she never got into anyone else's business. Jane didn't know how she would react if before this experiment she saw Kathy wearing a diaper. Jane grabbed a clean diaper and went into the bathroom. She looked at her phone. There was a text from last night saying that they were going to meet a day early. They were to report to the auditorium at 10:30. That was in the middle of Jane's first lecture. Jane didn't want to miss 2 days in a row, but she had to. It probably wasn't important anyways. Jane met up with Lucy in the auditorium. Looking around, there weren't as many girls here as when they started. When they looked carefully, about half the girls were wearing adult diapers. Jane assumed the other half just stopped taking the pills. Jane wondered about how many pee stories people had from yesterday. Her and Lucy had some. "Did you wet the bed last night?" Lucy asked. Embarrassed about some of the details, Jane just answered, yes. Me too, twice I think. I peed straight through my diaper. I had a big mess to clean and I was pretty dehydrated. That reminded Jane of the stain on her carpet that she had to clean. The same speaker from 2 days ago stood behind a podium. Excuse me. We are sorry for any inconvenience or embarrassment. You will all be paid in full for the study. Please fill out the forms telling us about your experience. None of you have to continue with the study. However, even though there are some bad side effects, they have been deemed harmful. We would like some of you to continue with the study. You will be compensated. If you don't wish to continue, please fill out a form and you will be handed your check. If you wish to continue, please stay seated. Jane got up to leave, but Lucy grabbed her arm. Let's keep going. It's kind of fun. Jane didn't think this was anything close to fun but sat back down because she didn't want Lucy to do it alone. A lot of people left. There were about 25 who stayed. All of which were probably wearing diapers. The speaker spoke again. The rest of this trial will continue as planned. We will have weekly meetings. Please pick up your new supply of pills. Thank you. She got off the stage. One of the girls in the experiment stood in front of the stage. Excuse me. Me and some of my friends think that we should all meet together to help each other with this. I asked one of my professors and he said we could meet in his classroom. Don't come if you don't want to, but we will be in E190 at 6 o'clock if anyone wants to go. Grab food and eat there. If you are interested, please write your name and cell number on this paper. The paper and pen were passed around and Lucy and Jane both wrote down their names. Right after, Lucy walked briskly away. Come on, Jane. Lucy went straight to the bathroom. Phew, I almost didn't make it. I peed my diaper a while ago. Then I had to go again, so I kept letting a little bit out. My diaper was soaked. I didn't want it to leak. Jane hadn't taken her pill this morning because she wasn't sure she was continuing, so her bladder was pretty much normal. She was still in her diaper though. Jane and Lucy went to go get lunch. In the line, Jane felt the need to pee. She wasn't under the influence of the pill, but the last time she went was after she got up about 3.5 hours ago. Jane could easily make it to the bathroom, but she could also have the instant gratification of voiding her bladder. Before she completely thought it through, she was peeing while she was in the lunch line. She was starting to like the feeling of going in a diaper. It was strange, but good. After she finished, she realized that there was no need for it. She was a 19-year-old girl peeing in a diaper because she chose to. That made her feel guilty. The other times she didn't use the toilet were accidents. She now also felt bad for wetting the bed. It hadn't struck her until now, but she had wet the bed. She knew it was the pill's fault, but she was still embarrassed. They sat down to eat and both took their pills with lunch. Jane and Lucy grabbed dinner and went to the meeting with all the other girls from the experiment. Jane and Lucy sat in desks next to each other. There was no one there who worked for the pharmaceutical company. The professor wasn't there either. There were just the remaining subjects of the experiment. They had arranged the desks in a circle. A mid-height Asian girl stood up in her seat. Hi, everyone, I'm Nancy. Now the goal of this meeting is so that we can help each other. The goal is that we can live our lives just as normal as when we started this. Now I'm going to pass out pens and paper to everyone, and if you could all write out what strategies you are using, or that you can think of to cope with this. Oh, this is especially important for this crowd. Restrooms and water fountains are just down the hall. Jane had her paper. She didn't know what to write on it. All she was doing was wearing diaper. Everyone here was doing that, so writing that down wouldn't be helpful. Everyone passed their papers towards Nancy. All right, Samantha will look these over. The first problem I want to address is long lectures. I think just about all of us are wearing diapers. Right now we all use the bathroom at least once an hour. Diapers are a single use. Now this is an obvious problem for 4-hour lectures. I talked to the people running the experiment and they agreed to buy us all 2 pairs of plastic pants and 6 cloth diapers. We will all still going to need to wear disposables, but we believe that if you fold up a cloth diaper and put it into a disposable and wear plastic pants over it that you could wet it more than once, and probably get through your lecture. Jen here is doing that now and will tell us later if it works. Everyone got their cloth diapers and plastic pants. The rest of the meeting they went around and told their experiences of the past few days. Just about everyone had had an accident. It felt good to be in a place where everyone was diapered. A bit later Jen said she was ready to test her diaper plastic pants combo. She took down her pants. Everyone could see her already wet diapers. She sat over a sink just in case she leaked. She started peeing. They could all see her diapers filling up. Some of the pee ran out of the diaper into the plastic pants. Soon she triumphantly exclaimed, "I'm done." It hadn't leaked. Everyone cheered. Before Jane went to bed she put a cloth diaper in her disposable and plastic pants on over. Most of the girls there had extreme cases of bedwetting. The next morning Jane changed out of her wet diaper and got ready for her lecture. She was wearing a cloth diaper under her disposable, under plastic pants. She went to her first lecture in a few days. She came out very wet, but not leaking. Jane and Lucy continued with the experiment. They had come to love diapers. When it was over, the group of 25 girls met every once in a while. Jane had a little problem transitioning from diapers to panties, but she wasn't worried. Jane still wore diapers whenever she got the chance.